Hey, it's Matthew Tkachuk, and you're listening to Missin Curfew.
What's Missin Curfew? It's when you kind of play guilty, but you show up.
How nice is a green light on the road, though? No practice tomorrow, no plane, just go.
Scotty Upshaw in the clear, and he scores! Right in front, scores!
A few laughs, a little bit of fun, and obviously a lot of hockey talk.
You're listening to Missin Curfew.
Fellas, happy Fella Friday coming to you from Hall Pass Media, Newport Beach. This is Missin Curfew. As always, we've got Max Pickup and Kyle Conway in the booth. Fellas, how are you? And coming from North Scottsdale, he looks like he might be part of I guess I would say for him an Italian, but you look like an Irish mobster with that suit, with that jacket done up and the hat on. Like you could be hanging out with Conor McGregor. Jay Swish, what's up, my man?
Fella, what up, baby? Yeah, this is a Fila jumper I got on, so I just got the top on. I actually saw a player at the U.S. Open wearing it when I was there in New York City, watching it and taking it in at Arthur Ashe, and I said, you know what, fella? I need that jumper. I went into Soho. I got the same very one the next day, and I wore it to Ashe. So, yeah, it's like the old school, like Sopranos, Fila. They're bringing this look back, Obes. I'm a big jumpsuit guy. You'll learn that about me. I have anything from velour to something like this. It's big in my closet, and yeah, anytime I can add a jumper, you just feel so good walking around. I feel like I'm going to be warming up for an NBA game, just feel good, look good. So yeah, man, it's that's the look today, baby. Just going full gangster with it.
I love it. And by the way, I saw your video yesterday heading to your tennis match. I couldn't agree with you more. Kanye back in the day. Are you kidding me? Back in the day? I mean, obviously we all know he's kind of, I don't have to get into what he's done lately, but I'll tell you what, Kanye back in the day, bringing the heat. I remember I went and saw him at what I guess is Crypto now, but it was Staples back in the day with one of my friends from the LA area. And Kanye brought the heat, man. He just brought the heat.
Yeah, I mean, he was unbelievable. That College Dropout, that one album, every song was a banger. And that song I was playing yesterday, Opes, was Young Jeezy and Kanye put on. Like, that song just makes you want to run through a wall. And Kanye's verse in that song is unbelievable. It's crazy that he started off as a producer, so he would, just giving the folks a free lesson they probably already know, but he would drop all of his own beats, and then he could rap, too. I mean, talk about being able to throw both ways, as I would say. I mean, old school Kanye, you can't beat it.
Yeah. Did you ever buy, a pair of Yeezy shoes when they first came out? And the reason I did is shout out to Rebecca DeMarco, good Canadian gal. She had a pair of Yeezys back in the day, and, they were in my closet for, I just threw them out. I didn't wear them once. But were you a Yeezy guy back in the day?
Yeah, I had a pair, and I did the exact same thing. I think I wore them 2 times, and I was like, man, I just look like a douchebag in these. So I never really wore them. I was just like, you know what? I don't know. Everyone wanted that shoe, Opes, and I couldn't get it.
That's what I mean.
Once I got it, I was like, these are, just give me some Jordans. I don't like these, man.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was actually, now that I think of it, she had a couple pairs, and the Updog said something along the lines of hey, Opes, these are going to be a collector's item someday. These are going to be worth something. And this is before Kanye fell off the, whatever. It just kind of got...
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for here? Help. Yeah.
Went through the ringer a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Went through the ringer a little bit. Did they ever hold their value, though? I never even looked online. Are they still worth anything? It was an investment that I think didn't really pan out for the lads, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I mean, I got a buddy that's a sneaker guy. He actually runs a store here in Scottsdale. So if you ever need kicks, Obes, let me know. But I don't think they do. I don't think they're a collector's item like they used to be. I think they've kind of fallen off. Adidas, obviously not as swaggy, I would say, as something like Nike or Air Jordan. It's kind of when you buy a nice watch, don't buy the Hublot, buy the Rolex, because those are going to hold their value. You know what I mean? It's just a veteran tip. Yeah. If you're going to buy a nice watch, you're going to spend $20K, don't get the Hublot, fella. Get the Rolex, because generally that's going to hold its value. And I kind of think those Yeezys are more so like the Hublot these days.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I might take you up on that. Can your boy get me some Air Jordan golf shoes?
Absolutely. Just let me know your size, fella. I don't know if you got stock shoes or you
13,
got double E,
13
foot.
13 wide, fella. I need a little room on the scrape the sides. I may not touch the bottom, but I'm scraping the sides, fella. I'll tell you that. I might not touch the bottom, but I can scrape the sides.
Yeah, you got the old snowshoes on. I can hook you up. Just send it to me on a text after this, and we'll get that dialed in for you, fella.
Team guy Jay Swiss. Hey, speaking of these tracksuits, the Mad Russian, I called him, Anton Hudobin. We're not going home. He used to show up to the rink in San Diego with these sick Versace jump-up suits. He had one for every day of the week almost. He had it done up right to the top like you. Get out of his Porsche Cayenne that was just dialed out to the tits and come out of there. I'm like, fuck, the Mad Russian, you're looking sharp today, fella.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of, I mean, it's like NBA players. I think it's a little bit NFL, but the Russians always had minty tracksuits, and they're always the expensive one. They're going into Gucci, and they weren't afraid to dust off the Amex and spend $3,000 on a jumpsuit. Like those guys, they were always looking mint. They might have not have smelled the best, but they were looking minty.
Yeah, dude, no, there was obviously a scent coming from them. But listen, a shout out to the surgeon, Sergei Kostitsin. I played with him in Nashville. Guy was making, like, I'm not even lying, making $575 back then, or what? Right, like not much more than that. And every night wanted to go to Morton's or fucking the Palm. I'm like, fella, save your money. And then when we went shopping on the road, this guy right to Versace and just boom, didn't even look at the price tag. I'm like, dude, you're making $575, not $5 bananas here. Like I was making around $2. Then I'm like, hey, fella, easy on the Amex, but they don't care when it comes to style, cars, dinners. The Russians don't care.
No, they're very materialistic Obes, and they'll spend it. They don't care. I mean, Kostitsin kind of played for free that year. After you're paying your agent, your wife's taking half, then you got escrow. I mean, $575. Yeah, it is a decent sheet, but it goes quick. It goes quick.
Yeah, the only thing he had going for him was no state tax in the great state of Tennessee. But then I went over to his house, and he had a 2-bedroom banger in the Gulch area back in the day, which there was only a couple buildings. Now you go to the Gulch, it's high rises everywhere. But the Mad Russian was living. I guess he had a great year. He scored 20 that year, Jay Swish, so I guess it paid off for him.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Like that. It's, some of those guys, it's so funny, though. It's like, fella, why'd you buy a Lamborghini? Are you living in that thing, too? Like, can you pay for the rent at the end of the day? You just spent $400 on a car.
Hey, I joke with my girl sometimes that we may have to live in my X6 someday. It might have come to that, right? We'll put the seats down. Hey, baby, find a nice piece of beach property here. Pull up there and just call her a day, babe. Call her a day.
Yeah, as long as it's got the sunroof, too, so you can still get a little action in there, too, Obes. Hey.
Yeah. Jay Swish, you're a beauty. Hey, listen, the fellas at Missin Curfew here, Jay Swish, this guy's a pro. He's always got notes coming in. Something you wanted to talk about here, and I'm with you. Let's snap it around tape to tape here, a little D-to-D hinge. Garter belts or Velcro Jock guy? Now, are they garter belts? That's how you say it, right? Good old garter belt.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, what were you and what kind of angle do you want to take this? Because like we said, neither of these are perfect, fella.
Yeah, I just thought it was always funny in the locker room. And even the beer league beauties listening, guys playing in the National League, guys playing in Europe, even all the way down to junior, high school, and minor hockey. There was never a perfect system, Obes, to hold up your socks in terms of your hockey socks. And I was a guy that always bounced around between wearing the cup and the garter belt, and then I would be like, fuck this is too much work, and I would go back to the Velcro. But as you know, if you're not playing in the NHL, you're not getting those crispy Velcro things redone like every so often. So it's like that, now your socks are kind of hanging out of your pants, and that's bad style. I just thought it was always funny, the guys that would go butt naked and wear the cup and then like the little like thong kind of panties and then put on the garter belt. It's like, how is that comfortable, dude? You're literally, your hose is like inside of this like nylon cup, and then you're like, this garter belt is just hitting your assless chaps. I never thought that was the road. So I was always a guy that kind of just threw on the Velcro, like almost like one piece, like short. But at the end of the day, like you said, no system was ever perfect. So I just wanted to discuss this with you, and I think people will appreciate this talk, just a little locker room talk,
Listen, I'm with you. I just wrote down the naked guys that would be naked underneath, and then you would see their skin between their pants and socks. When they'd be skating sometimes, and you can see their skin because their socks aren't staying up with either their garter. Well, they were garter belt guys if they were going buck naked underneath. I always thought that's a bad look. And then I know underwear wouldn't help you from not getting cut, but I thought, why? You don't want your bare skin out there, and it's just a tough look. I never thought that. But when you talk about underjock, I did wear an underjock. I wore an underjock, and then I would put my gitch over top, and then I would wear like core shorts to keep my groins and everything in place like that. So my shit was always tight and compressed because I wanted to, save the groins. But I remember Georgie Peros, God love him, Georgie, Stanley Cup winner, one of my favorite teammates, Princeton grad. He would wear the underjock, and this guy was like a Greek god in the dressing room. He would put this underjock on and just start either walking through the dressing room, back in the trainer's room, and I'm looking at this guy going like, well, wait, what is going on here? Like even how ripped he is, I'm just like, come on, Georgie. Like that's a tough look for everyone. He would just have a big smile on his face, walking through the dressing room, just underjock on, ass hanging out. And I'm like, that's a tough look if you ask me.
Yeah, just his cock swinging everywhere. First of all, George Peros, a gentleman and a scholar.
Yes.
Princeton grad. I always like to give those Ivy League guys, their flowers. But do you think there would be a better system at this point, Obes? Like, I was a guy in the summer that I'd actually wear a pair of sweatpants. Now, I would put my cup in there and I'd wear sweatpants because I like the one-stop shop. Is there a way where trainers and, just a new system could be implemented where it's almost like those old school Cooperalls where it's just like you hike them all up. Maybe you have a tailor at the start of the year where he gets your measurements of how long you want your socks. And it's just like all connected because it just seems like the system is a little outdated for what it could be. Because like we were saying, either way you do it, you're always having to battle like your sock falling down. And there's nothing worse style-wise.
Oh.
Your sock will kind of just bunch up and fall down, and now you're leaking in terms of just, seeing a little skin on the inside of your thigh. Like that was never a good look.
It looks like shit. It felt like shit. It would happen in the middle of your shift. You'd be looking down, like trying to be like, holy fuck, and trying to pull it back up. I'm with you. I see what you're saying here. Like a one piece that's like your socks on the bottom. You just pull up over your shin pads and you put it over everything because you look at NFL players now. Basketball players have been doing it forever, right? They wear the tights under their shorts. I noticed football players are doing that now too. They got the tights under there. They put their football pants over. So maybe like a one piece little thing you slide over your shin pads and then you put it on and then boom, you're ready to rock. Put your jocks built into it and you don't have to worry about that shit anymore.
Yeah, and that elastic too, the waistband would always just, become loose or kind of fizzle out. Now you're using clear tape on the top of your waist, and then you're using clear tape like to hold down your Velcro. I never liked that feel either, Obes, when you had to like put tape around your quad or your thigh because you had to hold up. That felt brutal when you were trying to skate. It's like it felt like it was kind of like restricting your legs almost a little bit.
Yeah, I would never want to. Guys that tape their socks around their quads, I'm like, that's just. I know nobody can see that, but that just gotta feel like shit, and it's just not. It's not a good look for anyone. But for me, I tried the old Velcro Jock when I got to pro. Same thing, might fall off. I wouldn't tape it, so I was already always a garter belt guy. But mine would fall down under my ass. I'd have to pick it up in between shifts. And as my career went on, and I started going playing back in the American League and Europe, where you did get a new one all the time. It was brutal. I would try to tape it around my waist. It's like, it just sucks. So I'm with you. It's time for something new, and you might be onto something, Jay Swish.
I was going to say, maybe we have a fella Jock. It's a one-stop shop, and we offer it over here at Missin Curfew, and it's just, something that's like you said, like the tights up top. It goes right into, your hockey socks, and you kind of just put it on, and you let her go, and now you got your pants on, and it's a way easier and way more efficient way to put the hockey shit on, baby, because as you know, getting dressed, nothing worse than getting dressed.
How many times do you think, I used to talk to Uppy and Loops about this, like, I take my skates off in between every period. Take all my upper body off and take my skates off between every period. How many times do you think you got dressed to play hockey from the time you were, let's just say from the time you started playing junior hockey at 16 or whatever, till you retired? I mean, what do you think the number is?
Yeah, I mean, that's 14 years. You're getting, I don't know.
You're getting dressed twice a day on game days. And then if you take your gear off, like it's basically you play 3 games a week. What's that? So that's 2, 4, 6. I mean, you're 10 times a week at least.
Yeah, I'm not a math guy here, but it's got to be close to, and then you got to factor in summer skates as well.
Yeah.
So you got to think at least, I don't know, almost 10,000.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Crazy.
It's really crazy.
Like how many times we tied our skates? Like it was, I talk about summer. I mean, I used to fucking hate it. Like you get so spoiled in the National League and then summer comes, you got to lug your gear back down, hang it at your house. It's like, we had a tough setup here for years. Now it's better at Gray Park, but we had a tough setup at Anaheim Ice. We had to lug our gear. I remember Loops would always forget. Loops would air his gear out on the beach. And I tell you what, Jay Swish, 3 to 5 times a year, he'd drive all the way from the beach into Anaheim Ice, which is like 40 minutes. He'd get there, open up his bag, no skates. He left the skates out on the beach, airing out. I'm like, Loops, that's rich guy problems. You left your skates at your beach house. Just go home and fucking shake it off. But we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you got an off day here, Loops. Just hit the Strand, go for a walk, fella. You're going to be okay. That was always the worst, too. It was always so funny when you'd be airing out your gear. It'd be a perfect day out. And then all of a sudden, it's torrential downpour, but you're actually at the golf course. And now I got waterlogged skates for the next 3 months until I get to camp. Unless you're one of the good players, you can call up the Bauer rep and be like, hey, fella, I need some new jets in the next couple of weeks. Most of us over here, just lunch pail guys, had to grind out those waterlogged skates. It would be so brutal. It's like, fuck, my boots just, I feel like I'm skating in concrete.
Yeah,
what's going on?
That's so
last week. They got waterlogged.
Yeah, that's so true on the East Coast. See, that's something out here in California you don't have to worry about. It's never going to rain. Like, I would go home. I had a little rooftop patio on my old spot. I would air it out there for the whole fucking day, the whole night. I wake up the next morning and put it back in. Like, if I remembered at night, I would put it in before nighttime because it would be a little, like, dewy in the morning. But one thing about California, Jay Swish, you never had to worry about your gear getting rained on. So you could just leave it out there for the whole fucking weekend, pick it up Monday.
Yeah, a little Dewey Cox fella. Never perfect. Listen,
maybe we set up a call with Big Andy Sutton at Verbero Hockey.
Yep.
And listen, we try to patent something here, fella. You might be onto something. Maybe the next fucking $1 billion idea here, fella. Maybe we shouldn't even air that segment and just keep it close to the vest, eh?
I was going to say, maybe we shouldn't even share this with the people because they might be stealing our idea. I just thought, like, when I saw the Carolina Hurricanes bring back those Cooperalls, I'm like, wow, there's got to be a way where this could be a one-stop shop where we don't have to do the old 1-2 dipsy-do and get all this shit on, and it creates a mess. So, who knows, fella? Who knows?
I'm with you. The technology of just a one-piece fucking pant you put on, and it's got the socks right in there. I think you're onto something there, my man. Jay Swish, in our intro here, let's talk a little playoff baseball. You got your Tigers hat on. I am so glad that the Astros are out. This will be the first time they haven't played in the ALCS since, 2019 or something. I think I saw it today.
Something like that.
But listen, the Tigers, we're going to get to that and get this guy a blue light. Their payroll is unbelievable. But I guess where I'm going with this, Jay Swish, is maybe not so much the game, but is there any sport where the fans change more in playoff baseball? Like, you live and die with every pitch. You go to a regular season baseball game, it's like, okay, we'll get him next inning. Playoff baseball, guy gets down 2-0-2 in a count, the fans get up. I just love playoff baseball, my man.
Every pitch matters, every play matters, and that is actually the exact opposite of regular season baseball where nobody's paying attention. Everybody's actually at the outfield bar getting shit-faced. They're downstairs getting their corn dogs, getting their pretzels, their Miller Lights, whatever it is, Labatt Blues. Now, Opes, as you said, you live and die by every pitch. A guy gets walked. Now you can feel that intensity, right? That nervous energy just increase throughout the whole building on both sides, in the dugouts. It's just crazy how that sport changes, and every little play, every little error matters. You get ducks on the pond, you get guys moved over, small ball becomes a big thing. A home run obviously is huge. It's just crazy that the intensity and almost, I think it's almost like nervous energy that it brings out in playoff baseball.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And they go to the bullpen, and these guys come out. Seems like everyone comes out of the bullpen throwing 100, right? Yep. 96 to 100. They're not scared to go to the bullpens early, and every pitch matters. And I was watching, Baltimore and Kansas City the first couple games, and I think they were both 2-1 games, or game one might have been 3-2. But last night, these guys come out of the bullpen for KC, mowing them down, and you could just the momentum on every single pitch. And like you said, when a guy gets on base, the nervous energy. I just love playoff baseball. I got my money on the Phillies. Who are you liking, my man?
I like the Phillies. Obviously, hopefully the Brewers can win today. That is my second team, just being a Wisconsin guy. I'm actually a Cubs fan, Obes, but I do like the crew. I love the good people of Wisconsin, all the piss tanks there. I mean, if the Brewers win this series, they're getting drunk today, especially on a Thursday and into the weekend. So I like your pick with the Phillies there. I've always had a soft spot for Detroit, going back to the Kenny Rogers, a.k.a. the Gambler days. Jim Leland, watching Jim Leland smoke a carton of cigarettes in the dugout in mid-October into November. I mean, he's my favorite manager of all time. I actually been trying to search for one of his jerseys, the 15 car. Jim Leland, to me, is baseball, was baseball. So I got always a soft spot for these guys in Motown, Obes. I don't know what it is, but it just brings me back to those days of a guy like Kenny Rogers up there, chucking them at 40 years old, getting World Series won. And yeah, so that's just a kind of a pastime for me.
Jack Morris back in the day, pitching for the Tigers, with his little knuckle curve or whatever he had, knuckle fastball. Listen, I'm sure you've seen this clip of Jim Leland and Barry Bonds when they're in Pittsburgh at spring training, and Jim Leland is just laying into Barry like, I'm the fucking manager. I'm not going to fuck around. You got a problem? We're going to squash you right now. I was like, this guy's a legend, smoking darts in the dugout. Come on. Yeah. If you don't like Jimmy Leland, then you're not just a baseball guy.
Yeah, he was grandfathered in for smoking darts in the dugout as well. I think they obviously outlawed him, 2010 or whatever it was, and he was still burning them down. Smoke him if you got him. One last thing, Hopes, I just want to touch on is how sick of a nickname is Mr. October? I mean, think about that. Reggie Jackson back in the day, that nickname, that is all time. You're just, hey, what's up, fella?
Yeah,
How you doing? Mr. October. Nice to see you.
It's funny. I bumped into Reggie Jackson years ago at the Equinox Sports Club, which is just kind of by John Way Airport. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go up and say hi to Mr. October, right? And I'm just like, hey, Reggie, how you doing, buddy? And he's like, oh, good. How you doing? I'm like, good. Just, wanted to say hi. He's like, do I know you? I'm like, no, you don't know me, Reggie. I just wanted to say hi. He's like, just literally turned right back around. Didn't even continue the small talk. He just do I know you? I'm like, no, you don't know me. Just continue to just stop the conversation right there. I was like, he's probably right. He doesn't want to talk to some fucking pigeon like me. It's Mr. October. He's just trying to get a protein shake and a salad and hit the road. I shouldn't have bugged him.
He absolutely big dogged you like that?
He big dogged me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
big dog.
I don't care who you are.
Mr. October.
Shake up with the fella. Like,
Yeah.
you still played 500 games in the NHL, Lobes. You're no slouch yourself.
Yeah, he had no idea about any of that stuff. But this was early on in my career too. But yeah, he's like, "Do I know you?" I'm like, "No, Reggie, just want to say hi." He's like, "Oh, okay," and then just turned right back. I kind of thought it was actually. I called Loops after. I'm like, "I just got big leagued by Reggie Jackson in the fucking smoothie line at the sports club." And Loops is like, "No way, that's unreal. That's unreal." So, Jay Swish, we will be talking some playoff baseball as the playoffs roll on here. As we all know, we do have NHL hockey starting next week. Thank fucking God. But I cannot wait to watch how these baseballs unfold. So we'll be right back at Missin Curfew. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Jay Swish. I came on here, pumped my own tires, patted myself on the back, bragging about my 10 for 10 weekend last weekend. DraftKings, baby, week 5. Tread carefully, fellas, because as any gambler knows, after a big week, your tendency is to cool off a little bit. But here's what I got, Jay Swish, real quick. I got I got Broncos money line at home, and then I'm taking the Commanders at home money line against the Browns. So I think the Broncos have finally figured out Bo Nix is finally figured out Sean Payton's system. I love their defense. I think they're going home. Big win last week against the Jets for the Broncos. I like the Broncos, and I'll tell you what, this Jane Daniels, I mean, I'm no Troy Aikman or Tom Brady picking out quarterbacks, but this guy looks like an athlete to me. He's gaining confidence. Quinn's got their defense humming in Washington. Cliff Kingsbury, who used to be in your neck of the woods, had a sick pad when he was the head coach of the Cardinals. He seems to get the offense going. I like the Commanders at home, fella.
Yeah, I like that. And I mean, like just talking even about the Browns, like just that team is just stinky. Like I think that's going to be a lock for you. I like those 2 picks. Obes, what I have, and I'm going to take a play out of your book where you were talking about on last episode is just taking the spread out of it, okay? So a couple here I got for you, fella. I'm just going to just cut it right off. I'm going to trust my own gut. I'm going to trust my chin, as I would say. And I got Bills at Texans. I'm going to take that money line. I look for the Bills to rebound from getting the shellacking last week. And then I'm going to take just a steady Eddie Kansas City Chiefs. The Saints are coming to town out of New Orleans. That's -5, maybe 5 and a hook, depending on your bookie or DK Sportsbook. But I'm going to take the money line on that, taking the spread right out of that. So I got Kansas City at home, and I got the Bills on the road for my 2 locks of the week.
Love that Kansas City pick. I will also be tickling that on the Monday nighter for sure. I agree. I think the Saints came out of the gates hot when their first 2. I just think coming into KC, Derek Carr is going to taste a little bit of the old blitz coming from the Chiefs. I like that pick. So I got the Commanders at home against the Browns, the Broncos at home against the Raiders. Enjoy the football, fellas. It is time to get this guy a Labatt Blue. Presented by Labatt Blue Light, the pristine Pilsner. Enjoy your beers together so we can live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Chippewa Street, Buffalo, New York, eh? Fella?
The good people. We talk about it every episode. The good people of Buffalo, the great people of Chippewa Street. Bars close at 4 unless you want to stay longer. That's just, you can actually put up a cot in here. You can spend a night. You don't even need a hotel. Just roll it over. We'll roll it right into kegs and eggs in the morning. Oh, man. I can't wait to get to Buffalo, man.
We're going, fella. We're going. All right.
Sure we are. We have to.
Jay Swish, I'll lead the charge here. I'll dish my blue lights, and I'll turn it over to you, fella. So first of all, preseason hockey. The whole fucking league deserves a couple cold Labatt Blues because every time, I haven't been watching, not going to lie, I haven't been watching, but every time I go to social media, there's been fights every night. The boys are ready to go. So the preseason hockey, get yourself a Labatt Blue. And then Kucherov, Victor Hedman, just named captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Young kid from Florida, can't remember his name, comes in, drills Hedman. Kucherov, guy is the Art Ross defending scoring title champ of the whole National Hockey League, gets in there, drops his gloves. So, Cooch, I know you love your blue lights, fella. I watched you the 2 times you won your Stanley Cup. Tarp off, crushing blue lights. Get yourself a blue light. And then last but not least for me, Paul Maurice. I saw a quote. I love this guy, Jay Swish. I mean, everything he's done in Florida, obviously a Stanley Cup champ, but a quote came out that he said to the boys last year during the Stanley Cup Finals. He said, boys, breathe through your nose, not through your asshole. So, Paul Maurice, you fucking beauty. Get yourself a Labatt Blue. God, I would love to play for that guy. Breathe through your nose, not your asshole, Jay Swish.
Yeah, boys, suck it in, take a deep breath, and that better be coming through the nose, not on the bottom side. Yeah, Paul Maurice is one of those coaches, OB, that you want to play for. The way he can just almost distract the media and put more of the attention on himself, kind of like a John Tortorella-esque, like John Cooper. Some of these guys that are very smart and they can articulate their thoughts and be funny with it. Paul Maurice is one of the best in the league and obviously a Stanley Cup winner and a guy that I think every guy in the league would like to play for. So that's a great quote. Get this guy a beer. Get this guy a Labatt Blue Light. I have a couple here, Opes. I want to start with one guy out of Minnesota. It was Wig Night over at the XL Energy Center. Marc-Andre Fleury dressed up and doubled as a ice crew member and skated by the Minnesota bench. The guys on the team had no idea Flower was out there, so he skated by, gave him some great encouragement, and then went for a twirl. He had the wig on, he had the fake duster, he had like Brock Faber's glasses on, so I thought that was hilarious. A guy at 40 years old, Opie, that is still a beauty, still enjoys every just nuance of the game. You gotta love that because he truly loves the sport and wants to make it fun. So I want to give Marc-Andre Fleury his flowers there, no pun intended. And then I also had out of Utah to Salt Lake City, Dylan Guenther and McBain, that's Jack McBain, they went into Costco the other day outside of Salt Lake City, and said they were low on water. They wanted to pick up some sparkling water. Well, Opie, what did they come out with? They came out with a hot tub for their place.
Nice.
Boys are putting a hot tub in their place.
Need a tub.
Keep that thing cold. Keep it steamy, but keep that thing absolutely just dialed in because who knows who's going to be in that hot tub. And Opie, as you know, going for a soak near the mountains, there's nothing better, especially a post-game soak. Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, that is a National League move. Good on you, boys. I'll tell you what you need. You need a little beer fridge that plugs in right beside that hot tub, stock full of blue lights, and then after a big win in Salt Lake, you just get in the tub, crack a blue light, and fucking that's National League right there.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, there's guys who they're going in for a 24-pack or a 40-pack of water, and they walk out with a hot tub. I mean, what a play.
That is,
play.
That's
unbelievable.
That's not
National League.
That's when you know you're making a lot of money, and you're just like, fuck it. You want to grab the waters, but you want to get a tub too? Grab the tub. Let's get the tub. Pull the truck around. Here's the address, boys. Drop it off. We'll be home at 30. We're gonna grab lunch. Actually, make it an hour. Drop the tub off. We'll have her smoking by the night. We'll have a tub tonight.
And actually, can you fill that thing up with Fiji, too? Because we don't want stock water.
Yeah.
Tap water.
Oh,
fill it
no.
up with Fiji. We got the dough.
You get the salt water in there, maybe. The salt water, the salt water hot tub, good for the bones.
Yes.
Hey, listen, going into my third year in Vancouver, I lived in Cole Harbour my first 2 years, thinking it would keep me out of Yaletown. Heading into my third year, I just embraced it. I got this sick pad right in the heart of Yaletown, and it had this hot tub on the patio. And I'm telling you, I was only in the house for, not very long, a month maybe, because we did training camp in Penticton. I was only in there for a couple weeks. And I was like, this is too good to be true. Like, I already had a feeling that I was going to get traded, but I'm like, there's no way the hockey gods are going to allow me to have this hot tub on my patio in Yaletown. It would have been historic numbers put up. It would have been historic. I mean, this hot tub right in the middle of Yaletown, it was unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, we might have been calling you Bernie Mac, a.k.a. Mr. 3000 at that point. Because, you would have been, talk about seeing the ball and seeing it well, Obi. Yeah, that's a stabbing cabinet.
It would have been nice. And then I had a guy already in the 3 weeks. So I'm like, listen, I need you every week. Let's make it, come by Monday morning and let's give that one a full clean over, right? Like even dump the water out and put it back in. But unfortunately, I got traded. But listen, having a hot tub at your place in the NHL, that's next level. You need that.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you want to take a tub at the rink, there's nothing like, even after the bar or just late night, get in the tub, you feel good, Obi. Stretch the body, stretch a career. That's how you stay just crispy out there in the tub, baby.
Listen, I love it. I'm excited to watch the Utah Hockey Club. Speaking of the Utah Hockey Club, we got our Western Conference preview coming at you next. Welcome back to Missin Curfew, the DraftKings Western Conference preview, presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right, Jay Swish, out in our neck of the woods, fellow, the Western Conference, baby. Princey, great job on the little preview here, but we're going to start with the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, Rick Bowness has moved on. Bonesy, love you. Great golfer too, Rick Bowness. Stick. So I'm sure wherever he is, he's teed it up in Florida or Scottsdale, wherever he is. But Scott Arnell, first season as a head coach. Listen, these guys had a great year. Heading into the first-round matchup against the Avalanche, I took the Avalanche because they're my squad. As an alumni, I love Nate Dogg. Landeskog, by the way, still haven't heard if, Landy's still no timetable to come back. We'll get to that with Colorado. I thought they were going to beat the Avs in the first round. They didn't. What do you think of this team? Basically the same squad coming back, Jay Swish. What is your feeling on the Jets?
Yeah, I think they they're a decent squad. Obviously, Scott Arneal's been in the league a long time. Last season, 52, 24, and 6, second in the Central. I think they're a playoff team, Obi. I just think, those winters get long up there. You get into April, it's still snowing out. It's still cold. Yes, you do have Earls on Main. Yes, you do have the Shark Club in case you want to get a little touch at the casino. But, man, I don't know. It just seems like those teams are like Winnipeg. Like last year I watched them. They were so good until January, February. Obviously came into the playoffs with a little bit of hype and steam. I just think, man, sometimes up there it just gets a little cold and you just get a little antsy. And I just don't think that's a team that's going to necessarily make a run. But I would love it. I love the good people of Winnipeg. I call it Vegas of the North. I love that city, sneaky road city, special place in my heart. So if we get those whiteouts going, get it buzzing. I do think they're a playoff team, Obi. I just don't see them being a true contender, even with a lot of good pieces.
Yeah, listen, tough barn to play in. Like, I used to love going into Winnipeg for after practice, right to Earl's, little chili chicken, settle up at the bar, right till dinner time, go have dinner, go to bed. But however, playing there is not perfect. It's a small barn. The crowd's right on top of you. I do believe there's a home ice advantage. First of all, Kevin Shoveldayoff, I don't think he gets enough credit for the fucking Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. I mean, are you like what a fucking trade to bring in Velarde, Iafallo, and who else did he bring in there on the third piece of that? Rasmus Capri or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit in general. I think he's one of the best managers in the entire league, Obi. For what he can do in finesse, especially Winnipeg, it ain't Newport. You know what I mean? In terms of getting free agents, getting guys to sign there. He drafts well. I mean, they have a lot of good pieces there, but like I said, I just don't know. I mean, if Hellebuck can be at the same level, now he probably has to play a little bit better in playoffs. I just don't see them getting by the Colorados, the Edmontons, and even maybe in Vancouver at this point, Obi.
Yeah, and another thing about these, places that weren't really destinations back in my era and before, I played and you played, like, I think that's kind of gone. Like when Hellebuck signed his extension, Scheffler, what's his name? Mark Scheifele, sorry. I always get those S's. I confuse those S's. When he got his extension, we saw what Draisaitl did staying in Edmonton. Like, I don't think it's like it used to be, Jay Swish, where guys are like, I'm not going to go to Winnipeg. I'm not going to go to Edmonton. So Kevin Shoveldayoff has done an unbelievable job. And for me, their captain, Adam Lowry. I absolutely love this guy. Can play the game any way you want to play it. I do believe this team is going to be a playoff team. And once they get in, look out. I mean, I think Hellebuck didn't play his best hockey, although, some of his comments at the end of that series last year, he said he felt good. I think if this team gets in, they still can be a handful come playoff time. So time will tell on that, but the Jets fans are unbelievable up there. Let's move to the Colorado Avalanche fella. Jared Bednar, 9th season, best suits in the NHL. Best dressed coach in the NHL.
Yeah, good hair, too. Good hair.
Great hair. Listen, I'll start off with these because this is my squad. When it comes to Gabriel Landeskog, I love this kid. Obviously he's been skating. I talked to a couple people in Denver actually earlier in the week, checking in on Landy, and good news, no setback, but still no timeline. It's just a different hockey club without Landy. You've seen it the last couple years come playoff time. Obviously Nate McKinnon, the reigning Hart Trophy winner. Everything I've heard coming out of Denver, he's even faster this year, which I don't know if that's even possible, Jay Swish. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
the way he can skate, Obi, is violent, as I would describe it. The way he gallops through the neutral zone, McKinnon, when he's coming in with all that head of steam. And the biggest thing with McKinnon is he's mean, Opes. He's a prick out there. And I just think if they can get Landeskog back, obviously the head of the snake there, you parlay that with a guy like Cale Makar, who's going to have a great year again, my Norris candidate to win. I don't think that's a secret. I think he's the best, one of the best players in the NHL in terms of, I think he's right up there as being as valuable as McKinnon to that team, or even a guy like McDavid. So you got these guys on your team. Goaltending's going to be a big thing, but they do have a great middle six, like we talked about, getting O'Connor re-signed. You got a guy like Ross Colton as well as Miles Woods. So this team, Opes, I really like them, and they might be my favorite to win the mug.
Wow. Listen, then, fucking get on your DraftKings app and bet it right now because they're plus 1,200. That's the highest they've been since they've won their Stanley Cup. If you bring Landeskog back in this lineup and you go Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen, drops Duran down, Casey Middlestat, listen, I'll be honest with you, I would have never traded Bo Byram. I don't care. Maybe this Middlestat's going to turn into a good player. I know they haven't had a second-line center since Nazem Kadri left. I get that. to the people in Colorado. I get it, but I would have never traded Bo Byram. Left-handed shot, can skate like the wind, sick hair, great kid. I don't know. I didn't think he was the guy to trade. I would have tried to trade Sam Girardi. I don't know if there was a possibility for that, but if I was in that position, that's the guy I would have tried to ship it out down. I'm hearing good things of this Richie kid out of there, but for me, Miles Wood, Ross Coleman, Logan O'Connor, who was out pretty much for the whole entire season last year, the second half of the season, that's a line that I think, especially come playoff time, is going to be huge for them. I have bet the Colorado Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup at plus 1,200. But Jay Swish, where I'm going with this is, if they don't have Gabriel Landeskog, I just don't think they can get over the hump of being a Stanley Cup champion. I hope they prove me wrong, but I think he's that important to their hockey club.
Yeah, you make a great point there, Obi. I mean, they tried Ryan Johansson, bringing him to be a second-line center last year, maybe even a first line. It didn't work out. They get a guy like Middlestat at the deadline, as you mentioned. But at the end of the day, I do think you need the 92 car coming through the middle of the ice, just being the presence on and off the ice. And you can tell just how much they miss him. And I just hope he can get healthy, Obi, and get back to playing hockey because, man, he's been through the ringer the last few years. And you root for good guys and guys that play hard. And he plays the right way, nose over the puck, fella.
Yeah, he does. And look at their top four: Taves, McCarr, Girard, Manson. I mean, that's, say what you want about Sammy Girard. I don't love him at times. I think his undersize kills him, but I mean, he's got that little spin move at the blue line. He can jump in the play. If anything, sometimes he can play bigger than his size indicates. But that's still as good a top four as you're going to see around the league, besides maybe Vegas. We talked about Carolina's back end. I love what the Bruins have done. But when you got that top four and you got number 8 back there, opening up the old 10-2 of the hips, you got as good a chance as anyone. And Georgiev, listen, I think he's a great goaltender. He's been playing a lot of hockey the last couple of years, so we'll see if he can, what the workload for Bednar gives him. But I'm with you. I think at plus 1,200, you got to tickle these guys. And if Landeskog, and we're forgetting about Big Val, Tkachuk can come back and stay healthy. And then obviously he's had some off-ice issues, but they're as good as anyone, my man.
Yeah, I do. And especially with Val getting the big boy back, the big Russian, the way he can play, we can score 20, 30 goals for them if he can stay healthy and kind of just get back to his game. It's just tough betting against those guys. And you mentioned a guy like Josh Manson. I love his game. I think he's sneaky underrated. I think he's fucking mean. He's actually has a little bit of more offense that he showed in years. So a good back end there, Obi, and with Nikushkin back, I don't know, man. I just like their team, and let's see what they can do.
I love it. We're both on the Avs. That's good, buddy. That means we can be betting on it all year. By the way, you're looking for a good bet? Avalanche at home the entire season. Mark my words. Bet them all. 41 home games. You'll be up. If that's the only thing you bet all fucking year. Because at home at Ball Arena, they come out of the gates hot. And a lot of first period overs hit there too. So Dallas Stars. Listen, this is a team. I love Pete DeBoer. There's guys out there, right, Jay Swish, that you played against that that just deserves a Stanley Cup, right? And Pete DeBoer deserves a Stanley Cup. Got to the finals with the San Jose Sharks and lost to the Penguins back in the day. He's been sniffing with the Dallas Stars. Such a great guy. Listen, this team last year, all year I didn't believe in them, man. They just ended up being the best team in the Western Conference throughout the regular season. Showed so much balls coming back from losing the first 2 at home against the Vegas Golden Knights, and then just ran out of steam against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. But what's your thoughts on the Dallas Stars? You got to be pulling for Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn, right? Those are 2 guys that deserve a Stanley Cup as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a lot of young core good pieces. Obi and Wyatt Johnston. You got the Stankoven kid, a.k.a. the Stanky Leg. Then you have a guy like Miro Heiskanen. Yeah, that Stanky Leg back there. And then you got a guy like Miro Heiskanen, who is one of the best defensemen, obviously, in the league. The way he can glide, the way he can get goal line to goal line is so incredible. So I love that kid's game. But to me, I think it's going to come down to the older boys. I think it's going to come down to their secondary scoring. A guy like Tyler Seguin, as you mentioned, Jamie Benn, who's got one of the sickest tape jobs in the league, just unbelievable style. So I think it's going to come down to some of those older guys. Matt Duchene, can he have a nice year again? Some of these older guys that can put up 50, 60-odd points for them and let the young guys kind of just almost get their legs going and kind of drive the bus, but they're going to need a lot of help from those veteran guys. So we'll see what they can do. Obviously, Ottinger, a great goaltender back there, coming into his own. I like their decor, that Esa Lundell. He's a good just minute eater. He just munches minutes.
Terrible style, but gets it done, eh?
Oh, my God, yeah.
He's got the worst fucking style, but
he's got the full-on welding shield on. He's got
and he tapes his socks all the way around his ankles, and it just looks like shit. But you're right. He gets it done. Good stick. can PK, battles, and makes a good first pass, better than expected when you see a style out there. But I'm with you, and look at you. They got their top 6 coming back. Robertson, Hitz, Johnson, Mason Marchment is a kid I absolutely love. Matty Duchesne, Segs, and then Stankoven and Jamie Benn on their third line. That is good depth. And to me, they shirt up the right side of their D. Matt Dumba playing with Heiskanen. I think Dumba's going to flourish. Just a little D-to-D over to Heiskanen all night. There you go. Skate, skate, skate. And then Lyubushkin. I like this Lyubushkin. Big right-handed shot. Can keep it simple. And then you talked about Lindell. Harley, they'll love his number. Double nickels. They're as good as anyone. You're right. Their depth is back. They got their key pieces. Time is running out for them, which I think is probably a good thing if you're Pete DeBoer and the Dallas Stars. There's going to be lots of urgency. Jamie Benn ain't getting any younger. Segs ain't getting any younger. Dutchie ain't getting any younger. So I expect them to be right there again. And like you said, Ottinger between the pipes. I used to love going to play in Dallas, too. What a city, man.
Ooh, you're getting off the ice for warm-ups. You're going even on for warm-ups, and you got no bucket, and you look over to your right, and you look in that tunnel, and you see that just stockpile of cheerleaders and ice girls. Not bad. I mean, I think it creates a little bit more motivation for that night, Opes.
That'll get a little hop in your step. Minnesota Wild, Billy G. Love Billy Guerin. Loved him as a player. Love him as a GM. Teams have windows. Marcus Foligno, I absolutely love. Teams have windows, and I don't know. I'm a little bit scared that this team might have missed their window, right? And Kirill Kaprizov, I believe, has 2 years left on his deal. Time will tell if they can sign him. Love Hartman. I don't know about this team, buddy. I hope they prove me wrong, but I just think they might have missed their window in mini. But a team that I'm cheering for, like I said, I love Billy Guerin, and hopefully they can prove me wrong.
A lot of good guys on that team. Yeah, it's kind of just like a mid-level team. Mid-to-soda is kind of how I describe them, Obi. And they are actually still suffering from those buyout contracts, too, in terms of taking up a decent chunk of change to actually sign guys with the buyouts of Suter and Parisi still in play, I believe. So, yeah, they have a few nice pieces up front. That first line I really like with Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Hartman. I love that guy's game. He's one of my buddies. And in terms of some other good, decent pieces with Spurgeon, hopefully he can stay healthy. Rodin. But at the end of the day, Obes, I don't know. I don't think they're a real contender for anything. And I think they're going to be on the outside looking in come playoff time is my honest thoughts there.
Yeah, they're going to be scrapping to be a playoff team. I used to love playing in Millie. XL Energy Arena was called back in the day. Good ice. Stay right there. Walk over the rink from the St. Paul Hotel. Good fans. Loved playing in that barn. Pulling for them. Just don't think they got enough to get in the playoffs. The Nashville Predators, Barry Trotz. They bring in Stammer the Hammer. They bring in Marchessault, Brady Shea on the back end. You pair that with the Fact Daddy, Roman Josi, Tommy Novak, Philip Forsberg, Nyquist. This team is 100% a playoff team, and when they get in, look out with Saros between the pipes. Listen, I know, Jay Swish, you love Broadway Street. Do you love this team as much as you love Broadway Street?
Well, first of all, the best NHL arena in terms of location in the entire National Hockey League. If you haven't been to a game at Bridgestone Arena, you step out and you can literally just sauce a little puck right to the box of Tootsie's, all these bars, Kid Rock, so all the honky tonks there. It's the best setup in terms of bars in an arena in the entire hockey league, at least as far as I'm concerned. But Obi, I look at one guy that you love. Obviously, I played a little bit with him. Is Ryan O'Reilly locked in at $4.5 million? I mean, if the Fat Daddy can put up another 60-odd points, that is such a bargain. You pair that with Philip Forsberg, who is nasty. Steven Stamkos, obviously, Marchessault, a great pickup from Vegas, one of the original misfits. And they got a lot of good young talent in terms of some good players there as well. And a couple guys on the back end ready to come in and make some noise like Brady Shea and then Roman Josi. I mean, we know what he can do. Can skate like the wind. So this is a playoff team for me, Obi, and I just hope Nashville is rocking come April, because what a city and what a unique environment at a game. And you can speak on this because you played there.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think they're going to be a great regular season team. But I think they're going to be an even better playoff team with that, championship pedigree, and you bring in all those Stanley Cup champions. Ryan O'Reilly's already won a Stanley Cup. Look out for them when they get in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a really, really tough out this year. The St. Louis Blues, I wouldn't say these additions are like exactly blockbusters here. We all know what happened with the offer sheet. Dylan Holloway, Matthew Joseph, Philip Broberg, and my old teammate Ryan Sutsy. Oh, fuck Sutsy. Yeah, the rich get richer. That guy's made a lot of dough in his career. But listen, I get what Army's trying to do, kind of retool on the fly here. Broberg, we'll see what he turns into. Guy hasn't, in my opinion, had enough sample size in the NHL right now. Played good last year when he got in the playoffs for the Oilers. Dylan Holloway's a kid I love. He can absolutely fly around there wearing 55. I love that as well. To me, this is not a playoff team. I love Alex Steen getting involved. I think he will be the next GM of the St. Louis Blues, and only good things will happen. But I think it's almost time for a rebuild here, not a retool. I think you got to blow it up and kind of almost start over. They had a great run. They won a Stanley Cup. Any organization that gets that done, it's obviously a success. But to me, they need more than a retool, my man.
Yeah, I mean, they were good for almost a decade there, if not longer. Obi, always a contender, a big, heavy team. And you look at a guy like Torrey Krug, obviously going to miss the year this year. Justin Falk comes back into the fold. He missed some time last year with an ankle and a shoulder injury. So sounds like he's healthy. A couple other guys are getting back. They're going to have to look for big years for Jordan Kyrou. Obviously, a guy like Bob Thomas is a great player. They get Buchnevich locked up long-term. Obviously, my boy, Jordan Binnington, between the pipes, I think will keep them competitive. But at the end of the day, OB, you look at this roster, I just don't think it's enough to get them into the dance. And I don't know. I agree with you there. They're kind of in a weird spot where they're trying to retool or rebuild on the fly, where you might just have to tank and kind of start over to go back up. We'll see on that front. But I think they are kind of trying to, angle this thing where they owe it to their good veterans. Braden Shen, hell of a captain. One of those guys that just plays old school hockey, and just a guy that, that has all that respect throughout the league. So we'll see what they can do. I think they're going to be competitive just because of the culture with that team, and especially Schenner, some of the older guys. But at the end of the day, I don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah, listen, the record was 43-33-6. That's better than I thought last year. And a lot of this goes into the division they're in. The Central Division is no joke. You said it right. I agree with you. They will be competitive. I do think they will push for a playoff spot. But it's like, do you want to just miss the playoffs again and get whatever, what pick do you get? I don't know.
16, 17, 19, somewhere in there.
Like, oh, fuck, we almost got in. Oh, here we go. We get the 17th overall pick. This guy's decent, but I don't know. To me, it's going to be some tough decisions there. Do you want to just keep it going? Speaking of full-on rebuild, the Chicago Blackhawks. Lucky Luke Richardson, love this guy. He was the one that told me, Obi, stretch the body, stretch the career. Used to come to practice on his Harley in Tampa. It was unbelievable. Luke Richardson, you're a beauty, buddy. I'm wishing you the best. Listen, they're going to be a more competitive team. I like what Davidson did here, bringing in some veteran guys. The Big Rig, Patty Maroon, Craig Smith, Tyler Bertuzzi, Teravainen from Carolina. Taylor Hall's healthy. I love that they made Nick Foligno captain. And then on the back end, you bring in Alex Martinez, guy's a warrior. TJ Brody, be happy to get out of Toronto with not in the pressure of the media. He'll probably flourish down there. And then you got Seth Jones, who I still think, with some help, can be a better player than he's shown the last couple of years. I expect this team to be better and be more competitive night in and night out.
Yeah, and surround your star player and your first overall pick in Connor Bedard with a little bit of toughness, and also some guys you can play on the power play with. You're going to start off with Teravainen and Hall, I believe. Bertuzzi will be maybe in the mix in terms of play on that line as well, but their power play should be a lot better. They should have some options for Bedard. Foligno, as you mentioned, coming in as the C. Patty Maroon, anytime you can add a guy like that to your lineup, a 3-time mug winner, it only helps. So, yeah, they have some sneaky pieces in there in terms of just being more competitive and being more like an NHL team instead of the Rockford Ice Hogs, as we saw last year playing at the United Center a little bit, Obi. So look for them to be better. Probably, I would think maybe a 500 ball club would be a good benchmark, maybe a couple games over for them, but not a playoff team at this point. And just hopefully Bedard can keep buzzing, because I love watching that kid shoot a puck.
Yeah, and like you said, they're going to be more competitive, and hopefully they play some meaningful games into the second half of the season, right, where they're still kind of in the hunt. They're around 500, because it's going to be important for Bedard to play in some of these games in the second half where it's like, they mean a little bit more. And that will come with time. I mean, this year's probably even too soon, like you said. Right around 500 is good for me. As for Blackhawks fans, I want you guys to suffer a little bit more, because you got your 3 fucking cups. And by the way, my 2 years in Vancouver, you guys knocked us out, so I had to shake hands the 1 year at the Madhouse. So to Blackhawks fans, I want you to suffer for a few more years, because they had a nice run. You want to talk about nice runs? Jonathan Taves, Patty Kane, Seabrook, Keith, Big Buff. What a run.
Hell of a season, pal. Hell of a season. And Obi, lastly on the Hawks, if you want to get paid in free agency, I mean, some of these guys are making some decent cheddar. You got Andreas Athanasiou making 4 and a hook, Dickinson at 4.25, Ilya Mikheyev, who they brought in at 4. I mean, some of these guys are making some good coin. Teravainen inked for 5.4 over a few years. So these guys, they're paying them and they're paying them well in Chicago, so hopefully they can perform and kind of just, get a little bit more buzz around the Blackhawks in the city and give some people some hope, because there hasn't been a whole lot of Blackhawks chatter when you go into the city as it used to be, obviously, when they were winning all those cups.
No, it was one of the best barns in the league to play in. When the Madhouse was rocking, when they sing the national anthem and they point at the Star-Spangled Banner, and it's just like, I used to love playing there. It was an unbelievable place. We need to get that back rocking. Listen, like you said, they overpaid for guys to come in and surround their superstar, and I love that by Kyle Davidson. I think that's a great play. Listen, hey, we got to overpay to get these guys to come here right now. We got tons of cap space, so let's do it. So I think they will be more competitive. Last but not least in this division, the Utah Hockey Club.
You got a guy like Clayton Keller going to take a step. Maybe they'll name him the captain this year. They've been talking about it for the last 5 years. Obviously, you're going to parlay that with Nick Schmaltz and a guy like Barrett Hayton coming back from injury as your first line. And, they got some decent pieces here. Lawson Krause, he's kind of a guy that can chip in 20-odd goals. He can fight. He can hit. I love his game. And you got some younger players in there, too, that you're excited about. Logan Cooley, can he take the next step? You got a guy like Dylan Guthrie. Okay, fella, you just got paid. Let's see what you can do. Josh Doan, son of Shane Doan, looks like he's going to make the team as well. So, yeah, Obi, I think they're going to be obviously better than what they were. They're back in. Mikhail Sergachev bringing him in. They have Dursey back there. A couple other pieces. Friend of the show, Robert Bortuzzo, a good veteran in the room. So, yes, they do have some pieces. The excitement with the team. I will be there on opening night next Tuesday against the Chicago Blackhawks, who we just talked about. But I don't know, brother. I just don't think they're quite there yet. And it seems like that's kind of a repeating kind of thing here in the Central Division, where there's a few teams that are just, they're not quite there yet, but there is just a general excitement about, new beginnings, and hopefully they can start building this thing, back up in Utah.
Yeah, no, this is the best team they've had since since they made the move to the mullet. I think they've brought in some good pieces, like you said, with Sergachev on the back end. Sean Dursey, I've always loved that kid since they got him from L.A. Ian Cole, the old veteran, to shore up their back end. And they got talent, right? With your bro, Clayton Keller's an all-star. Barrett Hayton's a kid that I love his game. Logan Cooley, looking more from him. And Lawson Krause is a kid that I absolutely love. I think all other 31 teams in the NHL would take him. Kerfoot, yeah, he is what he is. But listen, they got depth, they got skill, they got a good back end. And they got a hungry owner that wants them to succeed. So time will tell on them. But I'm pulling for the hockey club, fella. I'm pulling for him.
Yeah, did you see Spicy Tuna's hit last night against Radko Gudas?
No, I don't watch preseason.
Oh my God. I wasn't watching the game, Obi, but he stapled his fucking body right to the end wall. It was one of those plays where Gudas was rounding the net on his forehand, and you make the little dink play, the reverse on your backhand, and you don't get your head up ice quite quick enough, and the forechecker just pegs you like he's coming in like a bowling ball on a 10 stack of pins. And Spicy Tuna just stapled him like a homework packet to the end wall. And then he actually asked him to fight. And I think Gudas was a little stunned, so he turned it down. So what a night for Spicy Tuna in the preseason, just laying the lumber early.
Yeah, let's see that fight in the regular season. I would love to see Spicy Tuna against Gudas. That'd be a good old-fashioned tilt. So, Jay Swish, the Central Division, buddy, it is going to be a battle for 2 points every night in that division. Now, let's move out west to the old Pacific Division, fella, where we live. Out here, where it's always sunny. Taxes are a little high, but other than that, it's not bad out here in the old Pacific Division. Wow, Princey wants to start with the Anaheim Ducks. I guess we're going from worst to best here, fella. Anaheim Ducks, second season for Greg Cronin, who you know, right? You know this beauty. Loop said he's an absolute beauty.
I don't know him personally, Obi. I just, I've heard guys that have obviously played for him. I played for one of the associate head coaches there, and Brent Thompson in the jungle in Bridgeport there. So I don't know Cronin. I don't have any experience under him.
Okay, well, Loop said he's an absolute savage. He's got a great New England accent. Listen, Jay Swish, when we talk about, and listen, you've played on teams, and I've been on teams. I remember, my year in Colorado, looking at our lineup going, we're good. Like, we're going to be as good as anyone. And then one injury happens and another one, and you're like, wow, we're not quite as deep as we thought we were. But, however, when you look at this top nine, Carter Gauthier scored a nasty goal last night from a little backdoor tap-in from Leo Carlson anyways. Trevor Zegras, McTavish, Terry, Gauthier, Carlson, our boy Killorn, Fabs, Strome, Matrano. Like, that's not at all. That's, to me, not a bad top nine right there, fella.
No, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not too bad. And obviously, you add a guy like Cutter Gauthier. Hopefully, they have high hopes for him. Fabs, I think, in an increased role, can easily score 20 goals, especially playing on the power play. I do like some of their pieces up front. I think Troy Terry's a pretty good player. Zegras, now, can he come in with that Joe Dirt mullet and get back to form, maybe compete a little bit harder like they were kind of preaching from the coaching standpoint on his game? But you don't know. Is Gibson going to be hurt to start the year? They have a couple of defensemen back there that maybe aren't perfect. Obi, I don't think they're obviously going to be in the playoffs, but I do think, however, they should win more games this year than they did last year because that was a little stinky there down in the Anaheim region.
Yeah, it was, what do they call it? Low tide when it gets a little stinky. It was a little stinky out here. It was low tide all season for the Ducks. Listen, we touched on it, I believe, earlier in this month. I hope Trevor Zegras proves me wrong. I've got to know him a little bit as time out here. I don't know him that well, but he has a swag off the ice that you just can't teach. He obviously has unbelievable skill, can see the ice great. I question his skating ability, I question his size, and I question his detail away from the puck. I hope he proves me wrong. Mason McTavish is old school pro that I absolutely love. Troy Terry is a pure sniper. Gauthier, time will tell. Leo Carlson, I believe, is the real deal. I love this kid's length. I love his style. I love his ability to see the ice. And then Robbie Fabry is a kid that I hope can stay healthy, man. I think this is a great opportunity for him. And then on the back end, like you said, we'll see what happens with Cam Fowler. I don't think Cam makes it to the trade deadline. Gibby, you never know with Gibby. I do think they're going to be more competitive. I saw the orange jerseys last night for the first time. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I need more time. I need to go to a game and have a few fucking old fashions and really, see how they look.
Yeah, it's the old traffic cone. But, Obi, you mentioned Zegras. We don't want to harp on this kid. Obviously, he's a good U.S.-born player. He is a friend of the show at Butter Golf. But, yeah, there are definitely some question marks there. And I just hope that he can kind of prove everyone wrong, shut up the naysayers, and have a good bounce-back season like he anticipates for himself. So, yeah, that team, I just don't know. Like, they're in full, I don't know, rebuild, or they're still in a kind of a tank mode. I'm not sure where exactly they're at, but I don't anticipate them, getting over the 35-win mark in terms of, for the regular season here.
Yeah, they were 27-50. Wow, that's a lot of losses. And 5, I'm going to say they win more than 27 games. I'm going to say they win over 30 games. Is that even good? Is that even good? That's not even good.
No,
not even good.
That's not good.
That's not good. That's not good.
No.
That's not good.
Yeah. We got a lot of losses.
We got a lot of losses. Hey, listen, we'll get you out. We'll go to a game. We'll sit in my buddy Dennis Shannon's seats to right in the corner. You can bring out the wig and everything. It'll be a bit of a nice look for you at the Honda.
Yeah, exactly. And we also got to team up and do some stuff on the glass with them too, because I think those content pieces are gold. Get the Heat Daddy in the mix, maybe, and I'll go full Ricky Bobby, baby.
Yeah, that content that you and Heat Daddy do on the glass is pure gold. Let's move up north. The Calgary Flames. I mean, instead of doing a preview, we should do who's going to get traded. Yes. Kadri, I think they would trade Kadri for sure. Hubie, not going anywhere. Rasmus Anderson, gone. Who else?
I think he's gone.
I think he's gone. I think he'll be gone before the deadline. I guess it would just be him and Kadri, the only two guys that they probably were going to move. So my name that guy getting traded didn't have much. Listen, Blake Coleman, another guy I can see getting moved. I just think this is full rebuild for this team. I think Connie's done a good job with the draft and the trades he's made thus far. Keep going, Connie. Keep getting rid of your assets and do this a full rebuild. You got a new rink coming in the next, 5 years. This is the time to blow this baby up.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few other names on there, Obes. I think you were onto something there. I think a guy like Anthony Mantha, say he lights it up, dish him at the deadline for a second-round pick or something like that, similar to where he went to Vegas last year. Kuzmenko, they've talked about extension in terms of signing him for longer, but who knows? He's got another year left at 5 and a hook, and then he's a UFA. So one guy I hope they just give a job to up there is Tyson Barrie, your former defensive partner. Guy can make a first pass. He can run a power play in his sleep. Good guy in the room. Just sign a guy like that. Keep him in the league. 800-odd games, almost 500 points. I mean, this guy belonged to the National Hockey League. I just hope there's space for him up there, just on a one-year deal. Get him up there, get a little reboot, and who knows where he can take that from there. Oops.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's such a great locker room guy. Anthony Mantha continues to get contracts, eh? This guy is just big and soft and just shit. I don't care what anyone says. Then you got a guy like Backlund who's been there forever. Like, does Backy want to continue through a full rebuild? I know they just named him captain last year, I believe. But I'm with you on Kuzmenko, fella. 1 year left at 5.5. Couldn't play in Vancouver under talks. I get it. There wasn't room for him there. But this guy can shoot the puck. And I think if you're a team at the deadline that needs some scoring, and this guy's on an expiring contract, to me, that's a guy that could get moved as well. And Nazem Kadri, listen, Stanley Cup champion, has said all the right things in Calgary. Maybe he wants to stay there, and if he does, good for him. But I just think Kadri's a guy that every other team would love to have down the pipe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 33 years old, making $7 million for the next 4 years. That's a team, or that's a guy that a team could take a flyer on, especially with a little cap space down the middle of the ice. I mean, I don't know if they could ever pull it off, but just imagine him back in Colorado. I mean,
yeah.
That's the one that got away.
I know.
Oh, my God. That guy, he brings the criminal element. He can score. He can play every way.
Yeah.
A little dirty. Those are the guys you need, especially down the middle of the ice, Obes, as you know.
Yeah, they haven't been the same since he left, obviously.
But and Toronto wasn't the same when he left Toronto either.
No, I know. Speaking of Tyson Barrie, I love you, but that was a tough trade, Kadri for Bears, pretty much straight up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love you,
Yeah,
Bears,
that was... Yeah, Doobie. Yeah, you wore that one on the chin, fella.
That's how you lose your fucking job there, fella. Shout out to my boy Weegsy, baby. Let's see if he can not even bounce back, if he can parlay the career year he had last year, 20 goals. I think Weegsy, baby, if Backy does leave town, could be the next captain of the Calgary Flames, but time will tell on that. Sticking in the great province of Alberta, those beauties in Alberta, let's go to the top of the division now with the Edmonton Oilers. I've already bet them. I think it's only a matter of time before Connor McDavid wins not only one Stanley Cup, but numerous Stanley Cups. I love the Arvidsson pickup. Jeff Skinner, time will tell. Listen, I'm not saying he hasn't had a bad bounce, but you play 1,000 games and don't make the playoffs, you got to have something to do with that. Like, it's not all on you, Skinner, but you got to have something to do with it. But I love Arvidsson. They bring back Paris, they bring back Henrique, they bring back Brown. Paul Colson, a kid from Vancouver, in a fourth-line role, could flourish there. But to me, it's the back end again, right? Darnell Nurse is a competitor. I love him. He's making too much money. It is what he is. He probably would admit that. I like the Josh Brown pickup as a right-handed D-man. But this team's ready to rock, fella.
Yeah, listen, their D-core is obviously going to be the question mark there. Matthias Ekholm, I mean, what a Viking back there he is. He is their true number one.
That's exactly what he is.
Bouchard can run a power play pretty crispy. But one guy I wanted to talk to you about, Obi, and they brought him back this year, is Adam Henrique. And do you like his game, the 34-year-old veteran? He's making $3 million for this year and next season. Does he slot in to be a third-line center, or how are they going to use Henrique's game as a power play 2 guy, or is he kind of just a depth option as a PKer? Because, I mean, for a couple games in the playoffs, I think he might have got scratched or he was hurt, so he was kind of in and out of the lineup a little bit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, last year when they made the trade from at the deadline, I told the Updog on this podcast that, I'm like, that guy's not the answer. They picked up him and Sam Carrick, who I love Sam Carrick. He's in the Rangers. Great depth guy. I guess where I'm going with this is Adam Henrique proved me wrong last year. He did battle an injury throughout the playoffs, but he came back and played well. So I think when you look at this team, he was there. He's got the hunger to get back, right? He's been in the finals twice now. He lost to the Devils early in his career, lost to the Oilers last year. I like how they brought back guys that got to Game 7. They were that close. Bring them back. Everyone's got that, hunger and fuck boys. We're 1 win away. Let's go here. This kid proved me wrong. If it would have been before last year's playoff run, I would have been 100% with you. I'm like, this kid overrated. Proved me wrong. To me, Derek Ryan as their fourth-line center, I don't know why I pick on this kid, but to me, he's undersized. I think if you get a big boy down the middle there on that fourth line, that would help. But listen, I got my money on him. I got him at plus 800 on DraftKings. Look out for fucking 97 and 29 again. I mean, they are just going to be just snapping it around.
Yeah, they're going to be all goofed up on Mountain Dew. Draisaitl probably going to have 50-odd goals. McDavid, I mean, he could have 170 points. You never know. But I wanted to ask you one last question on the Edmonton Oilers. Looking at Zach Hyman, Obi, how many goals do you think he scores this year? Is it over, under? I don't know what the DK Sports line on this is, but my line would be probably set at like 45. Is he over that?
That you're probably sniffing right around there. Kyle, look that up if you can. I bet you it is right around 45 on DK Sportsbook, baby. How many did he get last year? What did he end up with, 55 or something?
50, yeah, I think it was 55 or 56, somewhere in there.
Well, if people continue to allow him to go to the blue paint, stop there, have a picnic, scratch his balls, have a shower, and then tip in a pass from McDavid and Draisaitl, then yeah, I think the over will hit again because say what you want about Hyman. Tough style, but goes to the net, stick on the ice, and he knows nobody's going to touch him. And I will give credit where credit's due. He's turned himself into a real nice net front guy. Knows when to pop out in that soft area to where 97 can give him a little backhand one-timer. And like I said, he just goes to the blue paint. Jay Swish, I'm guaranteeing you're pretty close on DraftKings Sportsbook on over 45. I'm going to take the over, fella.
Yeah, and I just look at his net front play in Obi, and the one thing that stands out with his game is how good is he on that back post when he kind of uses his skates and his whole body to kind of just allow him to get himself to a position where if he not necessarily doesn't have his stick as an option, he's able to kind of redirect it in with his body, and he gets like his whole just like skates and this like whole setup kind of low to the ice, and he kind of just tips pucks home like that. It's almost like the Crosby was one of the first guys to do it, but Hyman is so good on that back post, and obviously when you have guys like McDavid and Draisaitl throwing you sifters through the box, through a couple seams under a couple triangles, I mean, it's he's smart. And, he knows where to go.
He's 100% smart, and he's turned himself into a very crafty net front guy. But sitting at home on my couch, with a glass of rouge and a fucking lip boomer in, and I'm watching this guy just go there and nobody touch him. The old defenseman in me drives me fucking bonkers. I'm like, somebody cross-check him or box him out or lift his stick or get him out of there. And I think the best team was the Panthers. They finally did it to him in the finals. They finally slowed him down a little bit. But the Edmonton Oilers are ready to rock. Oilers Nation up there. I'm on board, boys. I bet them. I'm never not going to bet them again because it's only a matter of time. The LA Kings, Blakey. I think Blakey had a great offseason getting rid of that Pierre-Luc Dubois contract. First and foremost, their old school jerseys. I went back to the Gretzky 90 jerseys. They're unbelievable. The black mat helmet looks great. This team, I love Tanner Jeannot. I don't know. Time will tell on this team. Obviously, the Doughty injury is heartbreaking to start off. Joel Edmondson's another guy that I absolutely love bringing in. Can he stay healthy for 82? I'm going to say the Kings take a step back. I do believe they'll still be I believe they're going to be a wild card team. I think they take a step back.
And they just shake how they were playing last year in that 1-3-1. They kind of continued to play a little bit after Todd McClellan got let go. But it's like, uncle, you're watching a late game in the Pacific Coast, and you're watching those late night tilts. It's like, oh my God, are we watching a 1-3-1 bleeder right now, 2-1 in overtime? It's just like, let's get up and go with a little bit more pace. Obi, obviously, Doughty, that injury is significant. Kopitar could still play at a pretty high level, but one guy I hope that he takes another step this year, just got paid, Quinton Byfield. I think if he can start to just come into his own, use his body, I mean, just with that frame, I mean, he could be a freight train. He can be an unbelievable power forward. So hopefully he takes a step, but I'm with you. Victor Arvidsson losing a guy like that, that's tough, man. I think they definitely take a step back, and to me, they're a borderline playoff team.
Yeah, and listen, by the way, Byfield, great player, is going to be a great contract by Blakey, right? 6 years they gave him. I mean, kind of a bridge deal, 5 or 6 years. Didn't give him the keys to downtown fucking L.A. or Hollywood, and he's got to earn it a little bit. But I think, listen, when you got Kopitar, Byfield, Philip Deneau down the middle, they're going to be in games. They're going to fight for a playoff spot. But I'm with you. Let's go up to the Bay Area. They will be retiring Joe Thornton's jersey in November, which will be just a great seat at the Shark Tank. If you don't love Jumbo Joe, you don't love the game of hockey. Listen, obviously they got what do you call him? Macklin Felabrini?
They got Macklin Felabrini, Obes, and it looks like he's going to be okay after suffering a little bit of a contusion lower body wise. So it seems like he's going to be okay. He's day to day right now. Yeah,
I think Greersy's done a nice job. Obviously, this from what I've seen from Macklin Felabrini. Has all the tools. I think he's going to be exactly what the San Jose Sharks hope. You bring in Tyler Toffoli. You bring in Barclay Goudreau. You bring in Weinberg. You bring in Klim Kostin. You bring in Cody Ceci. You bring in some veteran guys that are going to help you compete and stay in games. Because, listen, I watched the Sharks play, not a lot, but enough, and they were fucking in one last year. They were easy money to bet against. I do believe they're going to be more competitive, much like the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't think going to the Shark Tank, it's just going to be guaranteed point night and you get back on the bus, eat your pizza, and go. I think they're going to be more competitive.
Yeah, I think so. They bring in a guy like Tyler Toffoli, a.k.a. Tyler Tuck Foley, as I call him, because all he does is score. That guy is just a crafty player, heady player. He seems like he's been a trade deadline pickup every year. So nice to get him some term there, feel comfortable up in Northern California. But, Obi, yeah, I just think, like you said, they're a long ways away over there in San Jose. As I would call it, Man Jose, because there's a lot of dudes walking around that city, man. There's a lot of dudes.
It is,
a lot of tech dudes working for Google in the big, just those companies. You know what I mean? It's not perfect if you're a single guy.
No, it is San Jose, and those companies aren't even there anymore. Those companies moved to Texas now. They don't even work.
That's true.
They don't even work there anymore. But San Jose, it has earned that right. Santana Row, although I got the bounce of all bounces one morning there. I'm coming out of Santana Row, just probably trying to shake off the ambo, and I'm at Starbucks, and I'm just like, and I look over, and there's just this really attractive young lady beside me, and I was never, the guy to really make up some chatter in the I wasn't that guy, but I just like I can't let this bounce go through my legs or bounce over my stick in San Jose. And anyways, bought her a coffee, bought her a latte, invited her to the game. The rest is history. But San Jose, that's a good name for it, because other than that, it was fucking sleep, to have dinner, go to bed.
Yeah, Fairmont, and what a pull there too by you. Could I buy you a drink or a condo? Let's start with a coffee. There, folks. Great pull, fella. Let's make our way to Seattle here. We had Disco Dan on, one of your former coaches. You played with him as well as a teammate. How do you think these guys are shaped up? You got some boys on this team.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Kraken. It took Disco Dan Bilesma and Brandon Monty Kid Fella Montour to come. Updog has loved the Kraken from day one. I just, what they did to me 2 years ago when they beat the Avalanche, I lost so much money on that series that I just couldn't rebound last year and cheer for them. But I love Disco Dan. Listen, they overpaid Chandler Stevenson. Deserves it. Stanley Cup winner. They bring him in. Who else did they bring in? Montour on the back end. Listen, I think this team is as good as any team in the Pacific to make the playoffs. Obviously, the Oilers are better than them. I think the Canucks are better than them. I like this team. Shane Wright, we'll see if he can finally figure out his role here in the NHL. But Schwartzy, Eberle, Brandon Tanev, Yanni Gord, they got guys that can play up and down their lineup. Matty Beniers needs to have a bounce back year. But I'm ready to rock. I love watching the Kraken's game with Johnny Forsland and Eddie O. I'm all in on the Kraken, buddy, and I'm going to say they're going to be a playoff team this year.
Yeah, I want to get up to that barn. It just seems like they have a lot of good skilled players and a lot of just like little skilled left-handed shot players too, Obi. It seems like they have a good mix of water bugs. Obviously, Vince Dunn on the back end there running the power play, so another Stanley Cup champion. So we'll see how they do. I think they're obviously a bubble team, but I'm pulling for them. I hope they can get into the dance, and from there, you never know. They might be able to surprise some people.
Yeah, and they got great fans too. It's fun to like I said, watching their games. I've been to a game yet either, so maybe we'll get up there, Jay Swish. I know the Updog's been to a couple, but the Vancouver Canucks, Rick Tocchet, the real Rick Tocchet, or what's his handle?
It's the real Rocket Tocchet.
The real Rocket Tocchet.
Unbelievable.
Listen, I got my money on this team as well. I think they're deeper. You bring in Denton Heinen, Jake DeBrusk. And then you look at a guy like Daniel Sprong, even a guy like Kiefer Sherwood. I mean, they just got more depth than they did last year. And on their back end, I love the moves of your boy Derek Forbort and big Vinny Desharnais. I love having that size as your 5'6". Listen, Desharnais's not going to wheel the net, go coast to coast at GM Place and slide it over to, Besser to go cheese. I just think he's a good PK guy, good stick, big body, will help him come playoff time. And then listen, JT Miller, I love this kid. I love the way he competes every single night. It will come down to playoff time again. Pettersson, he needs to figure it out before April, because this is going to be a playoff team. But if he played the way he did last year in the second round against the Oilers, or even in the first round against the Preds, they're not going to get to the Stanley Cup where they want to be. But I love JT Miller, fella.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better yourself there, Obi. I mean, JT Miller, just a warrior, a honey badger, a big body, a big frame. And I was talking to Forbes, actually, just asking him after we had the Real Rocket on here on the show, and he was just saying how cool Talk is. Like, I mean, it's no secret, right? Like, good coaches, good people, Beauty, Adam Foote, those guys, like, they're up to something up there in Vancouver, and I just hope, they're going to be where they want to be come May, June, because I do believe in this team, and I love their additions, especially on the back end, Obi. So, big things up there. We'll see how they do from your former team.
Yeah, and then in between the pipes, Thatcher Demko, they go out and get Letkinen from Nashville, and then Sheloff from last year, the surprise story of the playoffs. So now, listen, if Thatcher Demko is healthy, this guy is a Vezina caliber goaltender, and you throw him in there with this hockey club, I wouldn't want to play him in a 7-game series. I'll tell you that right now. And they took the Oilers to 7 last year, and they came out in that Game 7 nervous. Other than that, they probably could have won that game at home. However, they didn't. I cannot wait to see what the Vancouver Canucks do this year. And Jay Swish, we will be up in the new year heading to Vancouver 100%. Last but not least, the 2 years ago Stanley Cup champions, Vegas Golden Knights. By the way, we got to get you a game in Vegas with our boy Tom Riley in the old MGM suite. It's cash money. Listen, the back end. I go right to the back end here. Theodore, Pietrangelo, Hannafin, Hag, McNabb, Whitecloud. That is probably 1 through 6 still the best back end in the National Hockey League. Aiden Hill, I'm looking at him bounce back. Thomas Hertl is the guy for me. If I had my highlighter out, I'm going to highlight Thomas Hertl. Can he bounce back? And when I look at this team, are they going to score enough goals? They're going to be a playoff team, but are they going to score enough goals? And I expect Jack Eichel to have a big year.
Yeah, I mean, they got a great team. Stone, obviously, hopefully he could be healthy. Hertl, can he get his hips under him? Wild Bill Carlson, a long-time misfit there, the original misfit member. So, and you got a guy like Ivan Barbashev, who is just sneaky good, just built like a goddamn cigarette machine in terms of he can take hits, throw out hits. He's thicker than a lot of people think and so strong on his feet. But, Obi, you mentioned that back end. Obviously, it's no secret. Pietrangelo, an unbelievable defenseman. They add Noah Hannafin, and last year, Theodore, McNabb's a bruiser, Whitecloud, he can clear the front of the net. Aiden Hill, though, got to stay healthy. Need him kicking for the rest of the season. It's a long season, but we need him playing at least 50, 60 games this year. And then, you know what, they get to the dance, and we'll see what happens. But that's a team that you never count out, and especially I just love how aggressive their manager is. A longtime Brandon Wheat King owner and manager, and Kelly McCrimmon. I just think that he's not afraid to throw a sack on the table and make moves if the team is not up to par or up to snuff. So I really like Vegas. I like their team, and we'll see if those guys can stay healthy. And if they can, man, they're back in there in the mix come April and May.
Yeah, and Princey's got Tanner Pearson down here. I don't see him on the list, but if Tanner Pearson, that's another guy that just big size. Listen, they still have a big hockey club, right? Like, when they get in the playoffs, you don't want to play against them. Like last year, heading into the playoffs, I still thought, people were asking me who's the team to beat. I was like, I still think it's Vegas. Too many injuries, not enough time you can't just go into the playoffs, and even though they won game 1 and 2 in Dallas, they just ran out of steam to me, and give credit to Dallas. Like they came back and, beat them in 6, but I'm with you. Their back end is so solid, 8-0 kicking, and they will make a move at the deadline to get some more scoring if they need it. They know that. Like what'd you say? They put their balls on the table. That's what they do every single trade deadline.
Yeah, it's Kelly McCrimmon, man. He's not scared to make a move. He doesn't care what people think. But one guy I do think they will miss, Obi, in that bottom 6 is a guy like William Carrier.
I love that guy.
Over to Carolina. I mean, that guy, he puts the fear of God in you. He hunts the puck. He hits guys hard. He's heavy. He's thick. So that's one guy I think they're going to miss. Obviously, they have a guy like Keegan Colasar who does the same thing, but I do think they're going to miss Carrier. He's a hell of a player, especially in your bottom 6, just a competitor.
Yeah, they're going to miss him big time. He just couldn't stay healthy last year. Like, fuck, every time he got in the lineup, he got hurt. I was like talking to T-Rex and Pick. I'm like, this guy is such a big... I mean, their 4th line the year they won it was such a weapon. Such a weapon. It was crazy how good that line was of Waugh, Colasar, and Carrier. Like, they were a weapon out there. So, Swish, great job on the preview. Thank God we don't have to preview anything anymore. We got some real National League paychecks. Boys are getting paid. Going to be playing harder. Can't wait to talk some real hockey with you. Hey, we got Stanley Cup champion Matty Tkachuk coming up right now. Fella. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Jay Swish, this is nice to say. This is nice to say. This kid, his whole family has been unbelievable to Missin Curfew. They made me some money last year. I was living and dying with them down the stretch into the playoffs, but let's welcome Stanley Cup champion, Matty Tkachuk. Chucky, congratulations, buddy, and thank you, as always, for taking the time to Missin Curfew. You've been a great team guy for us, my man.
No, I'm glad to be back. I can't even, I don't even know how many times this is now, but always love shooting with you guys and catching up.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for last year. I took you guys about quarter into the season when everyone was getting healthy. Monty Kid came back, Eki came back, so you made my you paid for some of my off-season adventures, so I appreciate that. But first and foremost, before we talk about exactly winning it and the summer of Chucky, as I wanted to call it, this is a personal question for me. I always wanted this and never had the opportunity because I never won. But what's it like going back to training camp as a Stanley Cup champ? Do you just come in and say, "Hey boys, how are you?" Like, don't worry about the fitness testing. Like, when's the first fucking game, or what? Or what's it like, Chucky?
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty, I wouldn't say that's accurate, but you're also not too far off, I guess. But the other day, like, you come back and camp, like, our camps here are so tough. So, like, you've got to be ready to go. And I think what makes our team so successful is, like, how hard each guy works, like, in the summer, in the season, during practice. Like, during the lifts. I mean, just everything. Like there's a lot of like really good pros. So like guys I'm sure they had a few weeks having the best time of their lives last year. Then, probably mid-July came. It was like, we're doing this again. So, and that's the mindset this year. So I'd like to say we came back with that mindset, but at the end of the day, when you have to do that awful testing and the practices and how much they all suck, if you're going to do them, you want to do them well. So you got to be prepared for it. But it's nice having that a little bit of swagger coming back. But that kind of all changes once the preseason starts and it's a full new year and you got to make some new memories now.
Yeah, listen, there's a reason I don't have a Stanley Cup, right? There's plenty of reasons, but I didn't want to lump you guys in with how I would have showed up to camp, because I would have just came in and be like, Coach, listen, you might as well just throw me on long-term IR right now. Let's cut the bullshit out of the way here. I'll be ready come Thanksgiving. How's that sound to you boys? You can hold the fort till Thanksgiving, can't you? So, Chucky, buddy, I'm so happy for you, buddy. I know how heartbreaking it was 2 years ago when you got hurt in the final and you guys lost, but you came back, you fought your way through it. So I just want to go back and to I guess when you guys went up 3-0, I talked to Monty Kid Fella about this a little bit, but Uppy has said it for years on this podcast, and I never got to witness it as a player, but when that cup's in the building, is that a nervousness you've never felt before? Talk me through when you realize, hey, Big Walt's coming in, your mom's coming in, your sister's coming in, everyone's family's in, the cup's there. What's that like? I'm just curious as an ex-player, what's that feel like, the nervous energy of knowing, wow, we're one win away?
Yeah, it's an incredible kind of, I don't even know if you can describe, like, I don't know if it's nerves, I don't know if it's, anxiety, I don't know if it's pressure. I really don't even know how to describe it, but I think just going back the year before, we're doing our media day, and they had the cup, right in the mix. And I remember looking at it like really just shocked that I was playing for the Stanley Cup. And I think that I don't think it was pressure, but just like how big of a moment that was in my life, that being the first time I was playing for it, I was like shocked. And I just couldn't believe it. And then this time around, they brought the cup out before game one of the finals and had it like sitting in center ice, and both teams are just staring right at it.
That was sick.
And I remember looking around at the guys, and I'm like, fuck it, we've been here before. This feels so much different this time around. I've got an incredible feeling about this time around. And then, a week later, we're up 3-0. We're at Edmonton. We've got everybody's family and friends, and full planes coming to Edmonton, which is not an easy travel day for them. And I just think it was a lot, and we just got absolutely pumped at Edmonton. So I think that first game, knowing the cup was in the building, we actually had a really good start, and then it just got away from us. And now all of a sudden we're going back to Florida, and it's we probably got to win this game. So it was a lot of changes in momentum, even though we won the first three and then lost. And actually, the momentum in each game is crazy. And I think for us, everything changes when that cup's in the building. Like it's a different game. As much as you say it's just another game, and you have to treat it like that, like it is. It's hard not to look ahead. It really is. So I felt that everybody talked about before Game 7 that, all the pressure was on us. We thought it was the exact opposite, because for the first time in the whole season, Edmonton has the cup in the building for them, and that changes everything. And I felt that we used that to our advantage.
Yeah, I was at Game 7. I mean, that first period, I was 10 rows up at the red line. My neck was sore from watching how fast. Like, I looked at Uppy, I was like, holy fuck, are the boys buzzing out here? But you talk about your mindset, and in between every series, I text you and Monty Kid Fella, God, boy, keep her going. And your text, I could tell that your mindset was, you were confident. I mean, you believed that everything you guys went through the year before of getting to the finals and losing, that you felt in your heart that it was your year, and it worked out for you. But talk me through that mindset. What made you believe, Chucky, that it was your guys' year?
I just felt we were so deep. We were so physical. We were so hard to play against, and we had contributions at key times from so many different people. And we had great goaltending, and we had really big, strong defensemen that was hard to get to. That was hard to play against. I think that if you're going to win, you got to have that type of defense core, and we had it. Our centers, 1 through 4 were just strong, like two-way guys. And we had wingers that can get on the forecheck and be physical and wear teams down. I felt that is our MO is physical, fast, hard to play against, and we got 1 through 20, whatever, that were able to do it. And we had guys that weren't even in the lineup that were, key players for us at times. So we were just so deep. If we lost a game in a series, it is what it is, because we knew that, first of 4, we would take us against anybody. So it was a very, very, very fun run, knowing that, we had a really good team, and knowing going into the series, we decided to do a better deal and we're going to win.
Chucky, I wanted to ask you, just in terms of, you get that Game 7 win, you secure it, you get the next 4 or 5 odd days with the cup, you're swimming in the ocean with it, it's at the elbow room, you got everything, all your people around you, but maybe it was the place the cup ended up after one of the guys' Stanley Cup parties, or maybe throughout that bender afterwards down in South Florida. Like, what was the funniest place or the most random place the cup ended up? Was it a late night pizza place? Was it, a bar, or just like a random place you guys were taking that mug? Because when you do win it, I imagine you just parade it around everywhere.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know, it was the most random, but like the night we won was a Monday night, and one of the coolest part, everything was so cool and so fun, but when we were partying at the locker room, or in the locker room with all the friends and family, like, that's hard to beat. Like, that's as good as it gets right there. And I think the clock turned to like 4:30, and we're like, all right, like, ruin this whole locker. Like, let's, go somewhere else. So we're like, all right, well, nobody's going to probably sleep tonight, or at least I'm not. So why don't we all go back to my house? So I had probably 8 guys and some of their families to my house at like 5 a.m. We stayed and hung out till around 7. And then we went, probably the most random place would have been, and Obi knows, is Ann's Coffee. We had to stop at Ann's Coffee in the morning. So we went there at the start, and then we went to Elbow Room at 8 a.m. and we were there for hours. And I think it was just so cool seeing the amount of people. Like, it was just me, Barkey, Lundy, and I think Stoley at the start. And just seeing, more and more guys were showing up after they took like a 2-hour nap, but just seeing the crowds of people that were showing up, like, a big crowd at like 8:30, and then I got bigger at 9. And then by the time like 11 or 10:30 came around, it was packed out there. And just being able to celebrate with everybody and see how much everybody loved it, that was so fun. And I think one of the funnier nights too was when we brought it to 11. That was pretty iconic. And that night in Miami was one of the funniest nights I've ever been a part of, and lots of laughs.
Yeah, I love Big Walt driving around the golf cart. I love when Big Walt was driving around. He's having a stogie and the cup in there. But talk to me about taking her for a little bath in the ocean. First of all, thank you. I think you had Kit's eyewear on too, buddy, so I appreciate you for that. But walk me through how it's just like, obviously you're having a good time, but is it your idea? Is it somebody say, hey, Chucky, take that baby for a bath? How did that play out? Because I thought it was just a great move for Florida and South Florida. Let's take this baby right in the fucking Atlantic.
Yeah, so at this point, it was at like that weird little early area where like a couple of guys that were there at the start at 8 a.m. like went back to take like an hour nap. We had a couple more guys in. So I think the only guys are there at this time was Stoley, myself, Benny, and Eki.
The glue guys.
And we're there having just the greatest time ever. And my brother looks at me and he goes, there's like a ton of people down there. Like, why don't you fucking take it in the ocean right now? And I'm like,
Brady, that a boy.
Yeah, let's do it. So we walked down, and it was like Tiger walking down 18 in that one tournament where you had that big crowd behind him. And so we're walking into the ocean. I'm so drunk at this point that like I have no idea that you can't do it or salt water. Like, none of that's even entering.
No, why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it?
We take it in the ocean and went for a little dip with it, and became a nice viral moment. And I think it's so cool. Like, the night before every game, like during playoffs or every home game. So like for us to take it, in the same body of water that, we enjoy each and every day, it's kind of fitting as a Florida Panther. So it all worked out, and it's, it was a very cool moment. I love seeing those videos ever since, because I don't really recall it too much during the time I did it.
Yeah, Chucky, I wanted to ask you, like, you touch on like the rules of the cup and the keeper of the cup, Philly Picard. Like, where is he with the white gloves as you're just, trotting that thing into the Atlantic? Is he kind of over there sitting off to the side, a little bit nervous? Is he having like, a heart attack like moment, or is he pretty cool just hey man, this is your mug, take it wherever, because I can imagine like he's got his eyes on it, nonstop. But when you start going to that ocean, is he getting a little nervous, or is he just cool with it?
They weren't even with us at this. No, I think they just gave us like 24 hours of just us to just go like live it up. At us that night. So, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble or get them in trouble for saying that, but yeah, they were not with us during that open ship. So, that was I think that was what was cool. It was just us, like it was just the guys, it was just the family, it was just fans, and it was I don't know. So another really cool moment too was when I was at my house before we went to Elbow Room. It was just the guys in my pool back here, 8 or 10 of us, and we had the cup just on the side, and we're all like in the pool around it, looking at the names and just seeing where our team was gonna go. And there's a picture somewhere. I think I think my sister might have taken it. And it's just us, just having the time of our lives, just all having a couple beers in the pool at 5:30, 6 a.m., looking at the cup and just seeing that our names are going to be etched in history. So it's kind of one of those memories that I have that was just like, you don't realize it at the time how special it is. And, as days and years go by, you're just going to always remember that moment.
Yeah, the last thing, Chucky, before you move on to you taking it back to the Lou, the parade. I saw you down before you guys went to 11. I came over, saw you and Monty Kid fella. Then you went to 11 and had a time, and then the parade. And it was raining, and I thought, the rain, that's a bad bounce for the boys. But when the parade was going on, I'm like, no, this is a great bounce for the boys. It's not fucking 100 degrees. It's raining. They can go buck diddy. So was the rain a good bounce for the boys? Because it seemed like you guys just embraced it, and it was just added to the element of the whole parade and the whole South Florida and the whole thing you guys did all the whole time with the cup.
Yeah, exactly. You said right there. Just added on to the legend of living in Florida and like what, people in Florida deal with, and just how, it was fitting. It really was. And it helped that it was not 100 degrees at that time. It helped that, fans were out tailgating all day and they weren't going anywhere, and, they were just enjoying everything. And I think we got delayed by like 30 minutes maybe because of lightning. But other than that, it was, I think at the very when we were driving like to the parade where it was pouring. Like it was pretty iffy. And then as we got closer, it started to slow down a lot. And as we're starting the parade, it was just like the perfect setting for us. And we had the best time, and just one of the coolest days of my life. And I wish I could relive that each and every day. It was a blast.
Yeah, I know you guys absolutely killed it. Let's move on to bringing it back to St. Louis, because I know how much that city means to you, how much your family means to you, and your friends back in the Lou. It's another thing that, as a guy sitting here without a Stanley Cup, how cool it would have been to bring it to my hometown. So just talk about that experience. I believe you took it to a hospital, and then you did all the right things, fella, with it.
Yeah, I was very lucky to have it for a day and a half too, so I was able to fit in, a couple more spots than I originally thought I was going to be able to. But when I had my date planned, I think the days for the cup for everybody's schedule came out like early July, and I looked, and mine was in like a week and a half. So I had to plan a lot in like 9 days. So the first thing I planned was, when can I take it to the Children's Hospital? Because Children's Hospital to my family means so much, and we've been involved with it, my entire career. And even going back, my dad was really involved with it. I'm going back to the time when he was playing. So that was really important to me to be able to take that, because we are so lucky as players to, play the sport we love, and just, we have no idea what these kids go through. So it was really important for me, my family and everybody that was with me at that time, to put a smile on these kids' face, even if it was for a few minutes, just to, brighten up their day. So that was really important. And then after that, we were just, taking it to police station, the fire station, because I don't think those guys get the credit they deserve anywhere in our country. And they're true heroes, especially to my family. They don't get enough credit. So really wanted to show them the cup, and have them take as many pictures they want, and show how much we appreciate them. And then take it to OB Clark, take it to the golf course, take it to some of the restaurants we love, and really just have a very it was just a very memorable day and a half. Like, just seeing all the people that I grew up with and people that were so close to me, and coaches or teachers or just family friends, family that flew in for this and friends that flew in for this. It was a very special day and a half for me, and I really will talk about that forever, and people are still talking about it in St. Louis, how great it was. So it was very special for me, and I'm glad it all worked out.
Yeah, you killed it, buddy. You did the right thing with it. You had fun with it. I got to ask you about your old man, Big Walt. I saw a picture at the Tkachuk Tavern with him smoking a stogie and the Stanley Cup right beside him. He had his loafers on with no socks. It was fucking legendary pick. But like for you obviously get to share with Brady too. But your dad, who was an absolute legend, who didn't get it done, didn't win a Stanley Cup, but was an absolute legend. How good did it feel to enjoy with him and get him to drink out of it and have a cigar with it, and like just. I can't imagine that as a son, giving that to your dad, a guy who played and was a legend in the league. How cool was that, fella?
Yeah, and I'm very lucky and fortunate. Just everything kind of works out for a reason too. So the one thing that I really wish I could have seen was his reaction rate when we won. And with this the Amazon show coming out, and with just people having their phones on them at all the time right now, I was able to see that. And for me, seeing his reaction the second that clock hit 0 was one of the coolest things I'll ever see in my entire life. He worked so hard as a competitor, as a player for 19 years, and ultimately never was able to win it. And all the work and time and effort and just everything he's put in for my brother and myself, be the players and competitors and people we are today. And so I remember driving. I've told this story a few times, but one of the coolest moments of that day was I obviously had my family here, just hanging out in the pool, doing whatever they're doing on game day, not really caring about my game day, just doing whatever I wanted to do. But it was cool that right as I'm walking out to my car, my dad and my brother, I don't know if they talked about it or just felt it and did it, but they both walked me out to the car, which they've never done, and just like didn't really give me a pep talk or anything, just like. I had their hands on my shoulder. It just felt right, It just felt like this is that time. Today's the day. And as I'm pulling on my driveway, like I was emotional, but not crazy emotional, but it just hit me. I was like, there's 20 guys in that locker room that I've been battling with all year, and I want to do it for them more than anybody in the world. But I have to do this for my brother and my dad, because our family name needs to be on that trophy. Out of everything they've done for me, like today's the day. It's happening. And one of the coolest things was seeing it after on the ice. It was very emotional, and handing the cup to my dad was one of the most incredible feelings I'll ever have.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. You just give me goosebumps, Chucky. That's what it's all about, buddy. And to have that experience, I love that they walked you out to the car too. That's what it's all about, fella. Go ahead, Jay Swish.
No, I just want to say that the summer of Chucky continued, obviously, through St. Louis, and it made its way to Lake Tahoe. And I wanted to ask you, brother, how was it going there, experiencing? I saw you maybe involved with a late-night Flip Cup game, but I want to get into maybe some different things of just hanging out with the cast of stars there, and as well as just playing golf inside the ropes on that stage. Were you more nervous for an event like that than a Stanley Cup game? Maybe not Game 7, but it had to be a little bit of a different vibe in terms of, first of all, I don't want to take out a patron here in terms of if I spray one or I slash one,
lads up.
I tug one. What? Take me through that. Were you a little nervous out there being inside the ropes, or was it just like, what, I've been on bigger stages in my life. It's all good out here. I'm just having fun.
I mean, I guess thinking about it now, I've been on way bigger stages of my life, but
yeah,
and playing from 20 or 50 people on the first day in the early morning group. But I was super nervous. The crowd's obviously got so much bigger. My first tee ball, there was a bunch of people watching, and I was pretty nervous for that first tee shot. I'm like, everything in the hole here, come on, this is good, right? Well, but everything had to be in the hole, so it was tough. And I remember my first hole, I had a 2-foot slider, and I'm like, if I miss this, it's 10 feet coming back. This sucks. I'm just so nervous. I don't want to be embarrassed and be awful. And I made it. So I'm like, all right, got that out of the way. And then the next hole, of course, I have a 40-yard or a 40-foot putt, downhill. I have 4 putts. So I'm like, nobody really cared. So I'm like, if this is as bad as it's going to get, like, this would be great. So right after that, as I started a hole 3, I was like, now I'm going to have some fun. So it was such a blast. Like, I don't know what I was expecting going into it, but it exceeded my expectations by a million. Like, I cannot wait to go back to this year. It was one of the best weeks of my life. The American Century, and NBC do an incredible job. It's such a great tournament. It's just all the stars that are there. It's pretty incredible, and being able to, like, everybody has that mutual respect for each. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a nobody there next to a bunch of these guys, but like, it's cool, and like they have like the respect for me and what I was able to do, that we're able to like talk to each other about their like, I thought playing with Tony Romo my last day was so cool, and being able to talk to him about when he was playing, and now, like, I think he's an incredible broadcaster. So like talking about that, and like not necessarily his transition, but like just how he got so good at it at both of it. So I thought that was super cool. I don't know, like the guys I met, I remember I'm on the range the first day and I'm hitting right next to Ray Allen, and he comes up to me and like he was watching the finals. I'm like, this is crazy. And just one of my favorite guys, and probably my favorite guy at that tournament, I'm sure everybody would say this too, is Charles. And I mean, I were at the casino the first night, and like he came up, I'm talking to a few people, and like he came up to me to say, hi, I'm like, Charles, how do you know who I am? Like, why do you know me? But he's such a big hockey fan. And I was very lucky to be able to hang out with him a lot in Tahoe, and just talk with him a bunch. He's probably one of my favorites there. Yeah, there was a couple legendary flip cup, baseball games. So it was a legendary trip, that's for sure.
Yeah, Barkley's the man. I mean, he's the reason I wanted to do this when I was done. I'm not a huge NBA guy anymore. I was more when I played in the NHL, but I'll just tune in and watch Inside the NBA with them after I watch hockey all night, and I'll just to see what Chuck has to say, man. He's such a legend.
Yeah, he's just such a huge personality, and his memory is like incredible. Like, I mean, we're talking about something, and he remembered, just something that I said to him when I was doing the NBA thing 2 years ago that I wouldn't even remember. So he's a special person, and just everybody there. I've been playing with Roger Clemens one day. Like he made a nice putt, and like putt rocket. I just thought it was so funny. He's a legend. Got to play with Marty Fish, who ended up winning it. He's an incredible player. To the skipper with the first day, he's an incredible player. Just everybody. It's different athletes and performers, and it was a trip I'll remember forever, and hope to continue to go back for years to come, because that truly is one of the best weeks I've ever had in my life. It was
don't ever say no, because Getzlaff said no like 10 years ago and he can't get back in. So don't ever say no. I guess once you say no, they don't circle you back in. So poor Getsy's been trying to get back in, and I'm like, I don't know if the head of player safety is going to do it. I don't know if that title's going to get you back in there now. Hey, Getz, you might be on the outside looking in. But last one for me about your celebrations. We talk about wedding crashers a lot on this podcast, especially since Jay Swish has been part of the squad. I just remember Mike Commodore saying he went to like almost every Stanley Cup party. Whatever guy brought it to his hometown, Commie was there. Did you crash anybody's party, or was your summer too short, too compact that you didn't get to do it, or did you join anybody else's Stanley Cup festivities?
Summer was really short, but I got to come to some of our staff parties here in Florida when I came back. Came back pretty early, at the end of August or early September, whatever it was, and I got to crash a few of them, and it's crazy. Like, this is gonna sound terrible, but after having it for a day and a half at mine, like the amount of times you lift it up, the amount of times you're pouring beer out of it, the amount of because you're the only one that can you're the only one that can lift it. You're really the only one that can touch it. And everybody just wants. I must have. The cup guys said that they've never seen a player or anybody lift the cup up as many times as I did, because I just wanted everybody to have a chance to like hold it.
Yeah,
I had to hold it with them, so I did. In a day and a half, I did my whole upper body workout for all summer, so I was good there. So when that cup left, I'm like, I think I slept for a couple of days. I was like exhausted. I was over the party and took a few days off, and then probably picked up right where I left off. So after a month and a half of not seeing the cup, like I was so excited to see it at down here in Florida. And then I got a couple days, or I got it for a couple hours one day and got to bring it to Adios there. So I've had a lot of time with the cup, but any chance you can get your hands on it or take a picture with it. It was just at the rink the other day with some of our trainers in the equipment room, and it was supposed to be like, it was supposed to be low key. And I, of course, just catch wind of it. I go in there and couldn't get it out of my hand. So it's it's the best trophy in the world, and people don't realize how hard it is to win and what your body goes through, what your mind goes through to win it. All the the miles and the cross checks and everything.
Yeah.
And it's a grind.
No.
It's so worth it to be etched in history.
Yeah, before I turn it over to Jay Swish, I know what you're talking about because of the fact that Ryan O'Reilly invited me to his Stanley Cup party, and by the end of the day, I was like, fella, how's your chest and shoulders feeling? Like, he had that thing over his head the entire day. I'm like, here, take a shot of fucking Blue Label, buddy. You deserve it. So, Chucky, I know you're saying it was a long day, and I got no Stanley Cup rings. I'm like, I'd like to help you out here, fella, but unfortunately, you're on your own here, Fact Daddy. So I know what you're saying. He was fatigued by the end of the day.
It was good. I had a few guys that won there before, whether it was some of the guys in the Blues like Robbie Thomas or some of their trainers. Doug Waite was there, so he got to help me out a little bit with that there the day. I forget anybody else I'd probably had, which I feel bad for, but we had a few guys that won. And do you know who was a trooper during it all was Brady, because he's so happy for me, and as brothers, we want the best for each other. We want each other to win it so bad, more than anything in the world. And he was such an incredible supporter all playoffs, and just like you see the emotion that he had, when I was able, it makes me emotional thinking about it. But seeing how he reacted when I got the cup in my hand skating around the ice, like that's just such an incredible brother and incredible person. So I hope more than anything that he's able to win it one day, because I will be there.
Yeah,
I will be there to watch it all unfold. So
he'll get one, fella.
I owe that to him, and he's he was incredible during it all. So I could just see it. I could see it too. As the second day was going by with the cup party, it's he wants it. He wants it bad. So I hope he has a chance.
Chucky, and just looking ahead, the summer of Chucky is coming to a close. We are getting into a new NHL season, a new slate, and there's just one kid on your team that I wanted to ask you about, because I think he's coming into his own in terms of already being a hell of a player, but I still think offensively he has a couple more levels to go, just because I do believe he is that skilled. And that is a center iceman for your team, a Finnish fella in Anton Lindell. I just wanted you to touch on his game a little bit. He's such a heady player. He's a smart player. His dad was actually our goalie coach in Helsinki with IFK. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of love and just kind of pick your brain on, and you see this guy on a day in, day out basis, and what's his game really like. And I still think he has more levels offensively even.
Yeah, and I saw that offensive side come out this year when Bennett got hurt early in the Tampa series, and Lundy played with us pretty much until the Rangers series, I think, or at least for most of the Boston, but all the Tampa. And offensively, our line was probably at our best out of the whole playoffs, when he was there early on, and he was just creating so much, and he's so young still, and you don't realize it. And I just think that like you said, like he's got such a high ceiling with everything, and I think he's going into year 4 now, and he just keeps getting better every year. He's so strong on the puck, and as he's not a huge guy, but he plays big and strong. Like he's a strong guy on a stick, like his stick battles. He's great on faceoffs. He looks like he's always been a good skater, but he looks faster this year. He's beating goalies from distance in practice. So I'm really excited to see him this year. I actually really liked playing with him when when it was unfortunate we had to deal with Benny being out with his injury. And I just think he's going to be just continue to take great strides. I'm very happy that he was rewarded with a nice ticket this summer, because he was such a huge part of us winning last year. Their line was really, really good for us with Lusty and Vladdy, or whether it was Lusty and Erod. So that's what we're so lucky with, to be able to have a ton of depth up front. So whoever's playing with whoever, like you're playing with really good players. So I think he's going to have a big year this year, and he's got a hell of a 2 centers to lean on and learn from with Benny and Barkey. So I think, sky's the limit for Lundy. He's been incredible for us, a huge part and a champion. I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I agree with all that, Chucky. One last one for me, Chucky. Then our boy Kyle Conway in the back's got one for you. But the last one for me is, have you seen the rings yet? Have you seen what they're going to look like? And how excited are you to fire that fucking thing on? And when you just roll into a restaurant or, hey, maybe you're heading somewhere, you just slide that baby on. Have you seen them? And how excited are you to slide that on? Because as a guy who doesn't have one, I always dreamt about just putting that on. And as a single guy back in the day wearing it to the club, I'm not going to lie, I would have wore it right to the club every night. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, it's the greatest secret in town right now. We have no clue, which I don't know if that's normally how it is or how it works. But we've got no idea. So I am so excited for Monday. I don't care if it's the night before a game. I'm smoking the fattest cigar with that ring on when I get to my house after, and I'm just gonna, enjoy that. And that's kind of like the last night you can really, you're going to enjoy it for the rest of your life, obviously. But, you kind of want to turn the page that next day in that banner ceremony in the first game. But I've always wanted to smoke a cigar with that ring on and, look like a champ. So I feel like a champ right now and, want that feeling again and again. So probably come off to a good start this year and hopefully do it again.
All right, Jay Swiss, you got one more for Chucky?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, Chucky. Now, I saw a little game film of your pregame warm-up. I think it was in and around the Cup Final, and it looked like you were incorporating some different techniques that maybe I haven't even seen before of activating the hips, the glutes. You kind of had the arms going out left and right. So is that like a Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off style warm-up? Or talk to me about that, fella, because it looked unique and something maybe I haven't even seen before.
Yeah, so we've got an incredible staff, first of all, and one of our medical guys, Timmy, he's big into all that grounding work and your hip movements and getting the pelvic floor. I mean, most of the terminology I still don't really understand, but it's a lot of different types of warm-ups and movements, and I don't know, we just call them Timmy exercises. So I've incorporated that a lot the last year and a half since around Christmas last year when I was dealing with some minor stuff, and I've felt incredible since I've started doing it. So it's a little different type of warm up than I do before. I really get going, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's helped me a lot, and you'd laugh. Everybody on our team's doing it. So Timmy's already got the new guys on board with it. So it's it's great, and I really love it, and it helps me a ton. And thankful to have him on our staff.
Yeah, I was going to say, just if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You put a hot pack on there and you start just salsa dancing with it because you look good doing it, fella. You look good. So it clearly produces winners. So I just was curious.
No, it's funny because you're not the first person I have to ask you about it. A lot of people, that video went around a few times last year in playoffs. I think it's great. I'm sure I look a little strange doing it, but I promise you it helps.
Yeah. Kyle,
gotta keep it going.
Kyle, you got one more for Chucky? The last one here, fella. Fire away.
Yeah, Chucky, just one quick one. We've all kind of seen this Crosby Vail summer camp, and we just I'd love to know what that experience was like for you earlier this summer in September and playing with all those elite players, and maybe what kind of conversations take place at a camp like that.
It's actually funny. I'm wearing the
there it is, Camp Vail.
Oh no, you saw that, but yeah, it was incredible. It was my first time really skating and training with guys like Sid and McKinnon. I've skated and trained with Connor a few years ago, and for a bunch of years in Toronto. So I got to know him a bit. But Crosby obviously is pretty much every player my age group, our favorite player. So seeing how he's 37 now, just seeing how just so dialed in is with training and fitness and nutrition, workouts and practice, and just how intense, but just how much fun he has too. And I think he loves, being around guys like, myself and the younger guys that are just having a blast too and working hard as well. So we had a really demanding few days there in Vail, but it was incredible. And a lot of guys I met for the first time, but it was great to be able to skate and train with them. And you catch yourself on a few shifts being I remember we doing a 2-on-2 drill, and it was myself and McKinnon versus Crosby and McDavid. And I'm like, all right, boys, wish me luck. It was, thank God it was a little small area. When if we got out in the open ice, I was screwed. So it was fun with those guys. And, it was just fun getting to know them off the ice. They're all great guys and great competitors. I've competed against them now for 8 years. So to know them, off the ice is always fun. And, but yeah, Crosby and McKinnon were definitely the two big leaders of that camp. And obviously incredible players. Probably doesn't even do it justice with them. So great to see and learn from them and try to make them better as well.
Yeah, what a great weekend. And I have to ask, with the Four Nations Cup coming up, was there any sort of talk between the boys out there about that, or any smack talk, or?
No, it was a lot of heavy Canadians out there.
So you couldn't say much.
They're already trying to work on line combos because a bunch of them were sort of matching with each other. But I don't think I think at that tournament, it doesn't matter who you play with, you're gonna be playing with some pretty incredible players. So
yeah,
it's gonna be to that point. I don't think there's anybody more excited than I am for this international hockey. I love best on best, and I love playing for my country. So I'm jacked up for that.
Yeah, I'm fired up for it too, fella. I'm going to be there. When you guys play Canada at the Bell Center on that Saturday, I'm going to fucking be there. I'm going to have a nice buzz going. I cannot wait to see you and your brother represent Team USA. I said this to Travis Green. I think the Americans got a tougher team. I don't need you to comment on it. No, that's just my opinion, but I can't wait to see you boys. Chucky, man, thank you. I know you're busy. You've been nothing but great to us here at Missin Curfew, buddy. And like I said, I'm so happy for you. Good luck. Stay healthy. I'll be watching, buddy. And go get another one, eh?
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. I hope the good luck can continue. I think this is the third year in a row of doing this with you guys, and I'm not a superstitious guy, but two finals in the last 2 years, so let's try to do it again.
Jay Swiss, thanks to Chucky, Stanley Cup champion, Matty Tkachuk. That sounds good to say. He's been unbelievable to us. His brother Brady's been unbelievable to our podcast. Big Walt, he's got a great family. I've got to know his family over the last couple of years. Had my money on him last year. They came through for me, so happy for him. And let's see. I mean, they've been to 2 finals and won one. Let's see if they can get back there. They got all the pieces. Let's just see how much they got left in the tank, eh?
Yeah, that was cool. Just hearing all the stories from not only the Stanley Cup kind of bender into Tahoe with the golf, and then get into the season now. And now it's time to turn the page. And this is what these guys have to do. Their rings are going to be coming in for a ring ceremony. So I'm fired up to see those. He says he wants to, smoke a stick and a stogie with the ring on. Yeah, man, life's good down in South Florida, Opes, and that's a great family. And, he's one of your biggest friends of the show over here at Missin Curfew, and I'm just thankful now that I'm a part of it to get a chance to kind of snap around with him and talk to him, because he's a true beauty. He's a good kid. Yeah, he's a great kid. Brady, I absolutely love. I expect big things out of Brady this year in Ottawa, too. So, Chucky, thank you, man. Jay Swiss, thank you, buddy. You the man. Kyle Conway, Max Pickup, thank you. Hall Pass Media. That was Missin Curfew. Fala.